Roger.
All right, we're back with another episode of Around the Indoor Football World, and for the first time in at least 3 weeks, we're all back. So, looking forward to another episode today. We got a ton to discuss. As you saw in the tagline, we're going to be talking the draft, and no, not the NFL draft. We'll be talking the AAL draft, which just took place last weekend. As you guys all know, we had a huge hand in making that happen with the AAL. One of the biggest and best experiences I've ever had as a sports media person. But we've also got a lot more to come today. We've got a guest that will be helping us talk about some AF1 discussion today. I'm very excited to have Adam Snow of the World of Football on. So if you have not checked out his channel, please, after this episode, make sure you go over and subscribe to World of Football on the various platforms that you can catch their content on. Also, we've got another IFL guest coming at 9 a.m. So we've got a ton to talk about today. So if you are tuning in, please do us a solid. Hit that share button wherever you're watching, whether it's Twitter, YouTube, Facebook. Let's kick this out to your social media, and any indoor football fans in your life. Help us kind of push this show out to more and new viewers. But without further ado, we're going to hit a quick special intro video for you today, and then we'll be right back to get right into the AAL and the AAL draft.
Georgia, 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 Georgia.
That video was much smoother when I clipped it together, so I'm not sure what's going on there. But obviously, I am playing a Georgia song because we just got back from Columbus, Georgia, where we helped stream the American Arena League draft, the first ever AAL draft, by the way, and to my knowledge, the first ever indoor football draft that I'm aware of. So talk to me a little bit, TJ. Well, before we get into that, sorry, getting ahead of myself here. Krish, how are you doing this morning, man?
Man, doing good. Yeah.
Awesome. Glad to be back, man. I'm looking forward to speaking with you again. It's been a couple weeks since I've, been able to be here on the whole show. So looking forward to it. And thank you for holding it down while I was absent, dealing with some various on-site activities. Cody, how are you doing this morning, man?
Doing all right. Can't really complain. Just another weekend of indoor and arena action.
Absolutely. And Cody, also thank you for holding it down here as well. In my absence, really appreciate you tuning in every week and giving us the insight on all things IFL as well as many other subjects that we cover. TJ, how are you doing this morning, man?
Well, I'm a lot less nervous this weekend than I was last weekend, but it was definitely a fun time. But yeah, I'm excited for all the action. A lot of football to be played today, so it's going to be a good day. Really good weekend as a whole.
Absolutely. Honestly, I think all the way into Monday, if I'm not mistaken, we got a great weekend of games, whether it's the IFL, the NAL, the AAL, the AIF, I think, is pretty much wrapping up at this point. But we also have the UFL and some other things kicking off, as well as, like I said, the NFL draft. But we are not here to talk about the NFL draft today. We're here to talk about the AAL and the AAL draft. So before we get into the draft, let's talk about last night's game. The AAL had their inaugural game, the Columbus Lions versus the Wheeling Miners. And it was a great game. In fact, I think a better game than a lot of people gave either team credit for. I think a lot of people, us included, have thought the Lions were just going to run through the league. They were going to run over all these other teams. They were so much better than everybody else. Wheeling put a pin in that comment and must have, kept it up on their bulletin board this offseason, because they came out and they made this a hell of a game. It ended up being a 2-point victory for the Lions. But I don't think at any stretch throughout the game, Wheeling was down by more than 8 points, if I'm not mistaken. So if you were looking for a game for the AAL to hang their hat on and show you what this league is going to be, I think this was the exact game that they needed from these teams to open up the season. But I want to get your guys' opinion. Let's go to Cody first on this one.
No, unfortunately, I didn't watch any of the game. I saw a couple highlights on social media, but other than that, I mean, I'm show my ass here. I was more in tune with Orlando and Green Bay and obviously the stuff that I do in the indoor football league. So if what you say
That's it. You're fired.
It's fair.
Just kidding.
If what you say is true and it was a really close game and everything like that, then that bodes well for the the AAL. So that's showing that it's not just one dominant team over the others. So I'll have to get around to trying to watch it at some point if it's on demand or anything like that, and getting around to immersing myself within the AAL.
For the record, anybody who may or may not be offended by that comment, Cody does a lot of coverage on the IFL that requires him to watch every single game, sometimes multiple times. So just before anybody gets upset, I'm sure he'll watch the game at some point. It just may not be today. But Krish, I know you watched some parts of the game last night. What were your thoughts in that game? And were you surprised to see Wheeling keep it that close?
I was. Wheeling looked really good on the special team. Dante Mason, he played a hell of a game. One thing about Wheeling that surprised me was Daryl Clark. He played at Penn State, right? Division I quarterback, spent some time in the CFL. He hasn't played football in 9 years, and he threw 5 touchdowns. That says a lot about him. And the offensive line, I thought, played pretty good. Columbus's D-line is out of this world, right? So they did the best they could. But really, the game that came down to coaching to me. The last drive, if you watch it, Columbus had 4 what we call coverage sacks in a row. So there were no receivers open on any of their last 4 plays. So, it came down to coaching. I thought Coach McKinney did a great job last night, and I think Wheeling has a great team. But I do think Columbus will end up running through the league once they get everything together. I think they need some help on that O-line, though. They got to get some more O-linemen. So.
That's fair. And Roger's reminding everybody that you can catch that game for free on YouTube. It is still up. Obviously, you can go watch it right now. I rewatched some of the parts of it last night after the game was over. Like I said, great game. Great showcase game for the AAL kickoff. You couldn't have asked for a better performance. You also couldn't have asked for a better game day experience. That field looked beautiful. As we all know, it's brand new. Those first responder jerseys are just chef's kiss because they're beautiful. Honestly, the presentation last night for the Columbus Lions and really so far this season for the Lions has just been top notch. So not that we were surprised to see any of these things come to fruition. Obviously Roger has been very vocal about the fact that he's investing in the team and he's going to make sure that things look a certain way. So was very glad to see that. But we're going to flip over. We're going to transition a little bit. We're joined by our first guest this morning, who was drafted 2nd overall by the Mississippi Wolfpack, Mr. Ty Wolfman Petaway, who came dressed the part this morning. Mr. Wolfman, how you doing this morning?
Great. How y'all doing?
Doing great. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Congratulations on being drafted by Mississippi 2nd overall. Talk to us a little bit about your draft day experience. Obviously, we know, TJ and I know, that you were one of the people that were on site with us there in Georgia to be drafted 2nd overall. So to kind of walk us through your experience, what were you expecting when you walked into draft day? And then also who came with you? I know you had a couple family members as well.
Okay, so the draft day was definitely cool. It was actually like better than I expected and everything like that. Only thing is, a lot of players didn't come, which I understand because there's players all over the world that was trying to, and everybody can't make it to Georgia. So it was smooth. Other than that, I like the setup, the jerseys, the coaches that was there, the staff, including you, the camera crew, the food that they had. They had unlimited food from. I was talking about no matter if you hungry, thirsty, you good for hours. We was straight in there and everything. And then it's the experience. And then I have one of my best friends. His name's Ace. He's been supporting me my whole football career. And then I had my health coach that was with me, Nurse Eva. She does a lot of health things for football players and stuff. So she was just there to help support me and everything like that. So, but other than that, I had a great experience. It was beautiful.
I'm sorry, that was your nurse?
Yeah.
I was totally mistaken. I thought that was your mother, to be honest.
Oh, nah.
So I apologize. I actually think I called her your mother at some point during the show, so I apologize for that as well. But That's funny.
I
That's
didn't, I didn't
funny.
register. I didn't register that. My bad. Yeah, she was definitely.
No, you're good. You had a lot of stuff going on. Obviously, you were waiting to hear your name drafted.
Right.
But anyway, take us through those emotions when you finally, like, when you heard your name, but not only heard your name called, but heard your name called almost immediately.
I was super excited. I was definitely super excited. Like it's a dream come true, you know, because I didn't get to experience like the NFL draft that I planned to dream to be in. So just even doing a pro draft and just hearing your name called, especially first round, you know what I'm saying, a lottery pick, that's just like the greatest experience ever, especially when you're a football fan or any type of sports fan. So I thank God. I thank God for my family, for my ability to be able to do it. I thank God for y'all being there for, you know what I'm saying, setting it up for me to be seen in that way. So it was A1. I love it.
I really appreciate that as well. I mean, it was a great opportunity for us. TJ, do you have any questions for Ty?
Yeah, man. Hey, it's good to see you again.
You too.
Now that the dust has settled a little bit, talk about how exciting the draft was and that experience. How excited are you to now just really get down to football and get to showcase yourself on the football field at that next level?
Oh man, whenever it's about football, it's time to go up. You know what I'm saying? Emotions high. I love it. I love doing what I do. I love that people love seeing me do what I do. And I just love being able to contribute to a winning program and just, doing what I love to do, man. So I'm really excited.
Cody, do you have anything?
Yeah, I've got a couple of questions. What's up, Ty? How's it going?
Doing great. Good morning.
Good morning. My first one to you. Well, actually, like I said, I've got two questions here. Number one, we hear all the time about like the NFL draft process and like the interviews and everything like that. Did you meet with all of the teams? Were there interviews? How did you go about kind of, getting picked second in that sense?
Yeah, I met with everybody, and then I was talking to a couple teams like during out the process of the draft and everything like that. So I kind of like had, I had an idea that I was going first round and everything like that. I was expected, but I expected when I got picked out, I thought I was going like a little later and everything. So when I got picked second, I was like even more excited. I was like, oh wow, I went higher than I expected and everything. So yeah, it was man. It's shocking. Like shocking. Like I'm just grateful.
It's all good. Final one that I have here is it's going to sound kind of bad when it comes out, but like, how much pressure do you think there is on you right now, being the second overall pick, and knowing that you have to go out, showcase that, and that you are going to be criticized? People are going to talk shit if you don't perform, stuff like that. How much pressure do you think is on your shoulders right now?
I mean, it's a lot of pressure, but I pressure bust pipes and everything like that. Like I'm not really worried about that. I'm gonna do my thing regardless of fact. Like I got God behind my side. I got my family behind my side. I can't embarrass myself. I can't embarrass my people. But other than that, like I don't really care what people say and everything like that. Because if you do that, you do well on what people say. Or if I can't mess up because this, or I can't do this because of that. It'll get in your head, it'll get in your mental, or whatnot. Then you won't be able to perform. So the best thing to do is have fun, go out there, do what reason why you got drafted to do, and everything like that was a reason, and just I'm not really too much worried because I know I'm a ball out. As long as I'm healthy and God's will, I'm gonna do what I got to do. So and then when you got people going, no matter what I do, I can score 5 touchdowns today.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what I do, somebody's gonna find who don't like me. They're gonna try to find some type of reason of, oh, he's not like that. Oh, it was easy. Oh, the DB small. So it really don't matter. No matter what you do, like LeBron, Michael Jordan. No matter what they do, you're gonna have people that's gonna hate or say something negative. So I'm prepared for all that.
Appreciate it. Nice answer.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's a great answer. I honestly wasn't necessarily expecting that, but I mean that was a great question too, Cody. I mean that is an aspect of this draft that is maybe not necessarily something that we've experienced before as indoor football fans as well. It does add a little bit of extra pressure on the players that are selected, obviously, to kind of back up that pedigree, quote unquote. But speaking on that a little bit, I mean, you were selected by the Mississippi Wolfpack, as we mentioned before. Eddie Strong, great coach, great man. Talk to me a little bit about the way that Coach Strong has told you you'll be used by Mississippi. I mean, are you strictly going to be playing wide receiver? I know you've got some versatility to play some other positions. Are you going to be kind of that offensive weapon for them, or has he Has he given you any information? And for the record, don't give us, everything, obviously. Just give us a little taste of what we might see from you.
So basically, when he drafted me, he told me, he was like, "Yeah, we bring you in and be a playmaker to add to the offensive game and everything because they're a run heavy team originally, and they still gonna be, But they was just like, yeah, bringing you in the first receiver, the top receiver in the draft. We got to throw the ball. We got to put the ball in the air and everything. So he definitely, yeah, it's a couple game plans around me and everything. So I'm gonna do my thing. That's a fact. And coach, he's definitely a good coach, a great coach. They won a championship last year. We've been talking ever since I got drafted. I made it here, I want to say yesterday, practice last night, got to meet the team and everything. The vibes was great. So, but yeah, most definitely, you definitely going to be seeing me in that offense doing my thing. And I will be playing a little safety too as well. A little safety.
Ooh, all right.
Mm-hmm.
Given that the draft's in the rear view, we're going to go ahead and kind of wrap this up for you. But I wanted to ask you, where can fans catch you personally on social media? And then also, when can they catch the next Mississippi Wolfpack game?
Okay, so you can find me personally on Instagram at TY_FACTZ, Ty Facts. And on Facebook, you can find me at Ty Facts Wolfman. And then you can find the team, the first game today against the Bearcats, today, 7 p.m. I don't know the live stream yet, but definitely 7 p.m. today. I'm in action. Me and the Wolfpack. We're going against the Bearcats. It's going to be a great game and everything like that. So tune in. You're ready to see me do my thing and the team.
Definitely. Thank you so much for joining us today, Ty. Congratulations on being drafted, man. And we're looking forward to seeing what you can do tonight.
Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all. You have a great day.
Definitely. You as well. And best of luck tonight.
Cheering you on, man.
All right. Thank you.
All right. We're going to be joined by the number 3 overall pick now, defensive back, AJ Bowen. Another man that you've seen on this show in the past, also a member of Arena Football Coverage, which I'm sure you've seen online if you follow indoor football as much as we do. And why would you be here this morning with us if you don't, right? So without further ado, Mr. Bowen, congratulations on being drafted. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Kind of take us through your emotions when you heard your name called and heard your name called so early. You're muted, sir.
There we go. Sorry.
There we go. Sorry about that.
It was definitely an exciting moment. I got a phone call a little bit before the draft started saying, hey, this is the team looking to get you. Probably going to get you, second round, give or take. I'm like, okay, cool. First, second round. That sounds good. I immediately thought second round. Hearing my name come as early as it did, it was, super exciting. I had the opportunity to watch the draft with my brother, so we heard my name come up, and we were just as excited to hear it together. We celebrated and continued that conversation with staff of the Wheeling Miners, and excited to make plays there.
Absolutely. TJ, do you have anything for AJ?
Sorry.
Sounds like you're muted, buddy. That's weird.
Better?
Yes.
Okay. There we go. That was weird. It didn't count for the first click. Welcome to the show, man. Thanks for coming on. Getting drafted earlier than you expected, and then now that the dust has settled, you're going to get to finally just play football and showcase your ability. How excited are you for that? And also, how excited are you to be a part of the AAL now?
Yeah, I apologize. His audio still wasn't coming through on my end.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. He asked, how excited are you to get playing with Miners? And then, sorry, TJ, what was the other part of that question?
No, and then just excited about the AAL in general.
Yeah, and just the AAL in general. So the Miners and the AAL in general.
Oh, extremely excited. I had the opportunity to work with the Miners in the past when they originally joined the AAL2. Tried out for them, got to make my way through the training camp. And so I've got to meet a lot of good people in that organization who are still part of that organization. So it's good to see a lot of faces that I recognize. Get a lot of comments coming from the organization themselves, players, staff, saying, "Hey, glad to have you back. Looking forward to working with you again." And so that really brings additional excitement on my end, knowing that it almost feels like a team decision wanting to bring me back. And so I'm really excited to bring my play up to the AAL and show that I belong here.
Love it. Cody, do you have anything?
Yeah, I got kind of the same questions. Can you hear me all right, AJ?
AJ, can you hear Cody?
Yeah, I'm not sure why I'm only able to hear you. That's what I'm maybe seeing if it's anything on my end.
Yeah,
do
you mind backing out and popping back in for us?
Of course, not at all.
All right, thanks, man. Sorry about that, everybody who's watching. As you know, StreamYard occasionally has its issues. Very glad we managed to avoid all of these issues the day of the draft. I wanted to share a little story while we're getting AJ back on that I felt like was something that I wanted to share, and hopefully Roger's okay with me sharing this. This story, because I think it's something that just kind of gives you a little bit of an insight into the kind of man and organization, or sorry, the kind of man that Roger and is, and then the kind of organization that he's building and running there in Columbus. But during the draft, there was a young man there, Arrington Woodard Jr. He had made the bus ride down to Columbus, Georgia, all the way from Michigan. He played for the Michigan Grizzlies. Great kid, honestly, probably one of the nicest, just humble, quiet, just really, really good dude that you wanted to root for the second that you met him. So we all, we're hoping to hear his name called on draft day. He ended up getting drafted, which was awesome, seeing his reaction as well. But the more important part that I wanted to share about this situation is that, as I mentioned, Arrington took a bus all the way down from Michigan to Columbus. Well, rather than having to take the bus back, Roger Beck and the Columbus Lions paid for a flight for him back. Not because they had to, but because they wanted to, because they realized the dedication that guy showed to make it to the draft, and showed that, that's the kind of players that they want in this league. That's what the AAL2 is all about. That's what the AAL is all about. So I think that story just kind of touched my heart, because I have, a different view on Roger, because I've been able to get to, speak to him behind the scenes and stuff like that. So I kind of knew he was a good person already, but seeing it in action, when nobody knew it was happening, I just happened to be standing there, and, TJ was right there with me when the whole thing went down. It was one of those situations where it just was really awesome to see from a team owner. And it was something that he wasn't doing for publicity. He wasn't doing because he knew I was going to talk about it on the show. He did it because he felt that was right. So just a really cool story from the draft that I thought was something that I wanted to get out there. But looks like we got AJ back. AJ, can you hear us okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, Cody?
All right, let's try this again. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Sweet.
There we go. All right, so 2 questions I have. I'll propose the first one just like I did with Ty. What's the pressure like being the number 3 pick, knowing that your name was called, knowing that now you have to go out and perform, knowing that there's going to be players on the other side of the ball, or even your own teammates that are like, hey, you got picked 3rd. You've got to come out and perform. You've got to come out and show out every single game and prove your worth when it comes to that. Take me through a little bit of what goes through your head when you hear that.
Yeah, sorry. No, that pressure is felt. I'm sure it's shared by, other players in my similar position. And I think Wheeling did a good job help mediating that to a degree. Honestly, by not having me come into the game that was played yesterday, not having me attend that one, letting me ease into the system rather than, throwing me to the wolves, as one would say, which if that were the case, I'd be, playing at my hardest. But they still wanted to give me time, learn the playbook, learn the identity of the team, instead of just throwing me out there. So I greatly appreciate that, and I'm looking forward to, hopefully seeing my time on the field with them soon. But, they have a schedule, I'm sure, that they want to stick with, and they're going to throw me in whenever I'm ready.
Awesome. What was that? What was it like? Like, did you when you heard your name called, going through all of that, you're like, hey, excuse me, I've gotten to this point right here in my life where my name is called in a draft. Yes, it's not the NFL draft. I don't even know if Canadian Football League has a draft, but to hear your name, actually they do, but still to hear your name finally called and say, hey, this is my moment. It might not be tomorrow, it might not be then, but once I step foot on that field, it is go time. What is your motivation? What is driving you for this?
Hearing my name called, especially that early, it was definitely, you know, say vindication, saying that a lot of the hard work that I've done is, paying off. But even at that moment, I knew that that wasn't the finish line. The draft was never the finish line. That was the starting gun, per se. That was, hey, you did all your work and you did all your training. Now it's time for the race. That's the starting gun. Get going. This is where your performance really matters. Practice and all that. You can do the best plays of your life on the practice field or in these lower levels. It's as soon as you get to these higher levels, once you get the pressure on of the professional level, are you still performing at that high level? And that's really what I want to show, that I can still do that.
Fair point. Fair point. TJ, do you have anything else for AJ before we let him get out of here?
Oh yeah. After last night's game, going down to the wire, we were talking about it earlier, how great of an opening game for the season it was. Uh, how do you feel the expectations are for really the team as a whole, and where do you feel like you'll be come season's end?
Um, Expectations are sky high. I see no reason why we can't make, it's a competitive league. But that being said, each team's fighting for top spots. And we're going to be one of them, of course. We're going to, I was watching the game. It was a tight game, as you mentioned. And it comes down to the last drive. Those are the best, those are the best kind of games. As a viewer, you wanted to go back and forth like a battle. And I know that once I get things cleaned up, I have no reason to believe that we can't, clean that up and perform at a much even higher level as the season continues.
Absolutely. AJ, once again, thank you so much for joining us today. Before you get out of here, is there anyone you want to shout out, anything like that you want to get off your chest before we let you get out of here?
Honestly, I want to thank, the friends and family that supported me through, up until the point of the draft, going on into it. Obviously people hear the name, hear me get drafted, and there'll be someone I haven't heard from however many years say, hey, congratulations, and I appreciate that truly. But it's the people that stuck around in the midst of building that moment, such as, my brothers, my dad, my girlfriend, everyone who's been there by my side. So I want to thank them, who's really been there to support me.
Love it. Love it. And then once again, a quick reminder for everybody watching, if you have not checked them out, Arena Football Coverage. I believe you guys are on Instagram. There's a YouTube channel as well, right?
Yeah, Arena Football Coverage. One of our main pages that, obviously cover the sports, scoreboards, updates. Just slightly, it's a part of a slightly larger network of our Arena Football Network, where it also includes posting highlights on other pages, individual POV stories or individual stories of individual players, which you can find. But if you go to just Arena Football Network, you can get access to any one of those on Instagram.
There you go. There you go. So once again, thank you so much for your time, AJ. We really appreciate it. I'm sure this will not be the last time we speak to you, and good luck to you in the minors the rest of the way.
Thank you. Looking forward to hearing from you guys again.
Definitely. Have a great rest of your day, and thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you.
Awesome. We're going to hit a quick commercial break, and then we'll be joined with Adam Snow of the World of Football. If you have not done so already, while we're on this commercial break, click the link that I just dropped in the chat. Help them hit 1,500 subscribers before the end of this show. They're at 1,490 right now. We can make it happen before the end of this show, so let's do that. With that being said, We're going to hit a quick commercial break. We'll be right back. If I can find the right commercial.
Omaha Beef Football! Prime Dancers! Rump Roasters! Slaughterhouse! Are you ready? DJ next one. You ready? 3, 2, 1, go! Welcome to the Orange Kingdom. Yeah. Orange Kingdom. Welcome to the Orange Kingdom. Yeah. Orange Kingdom. Welcome to the Slaughterhouse where we run it. Yeah, we really want it. Beef Nation, got 'em shaking. Got a ring and we flaunt it. Prime Dancers be on it. I bet the competition's no opposition. We come to take and we done it. Ricky is the chief saying, let's go beef. Welcome to the Orange Kingdom. Yeah. Orange Kingdom. Welcome to the Orange Kingdom. Yeah. Orange Kingdom. Welcome to the Slaughterhouse. Orange and Black about to win this. Defense stays on attack. You on our hit list. Blocking, blocking, and dumping, jumping out the gymnasium. You want to see the best? Meet us at the Beef Stadium. Yeah. Orange Kingdom. Welcome to the Orange Kingdom. Let's go, Beef. Orange Kingdom. Slaughterhouse. Orange Kingdom. Prime Dancers. Orange Kingdom. Let's roll, baby.
That is a very long commercial every single time I play it. Thank you so much for joining us, Adam. I'm really excited to have you here this morning. This has kind of been, I don't want to say a long time in the works, but we definitely have talked for a little bit here and there about, appearing on each other's shows. So I'm glad to finally have you on. How are you doing this morning, man?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on, guys. It's finally good to talk to all you, TJ. I see Krish was there for a hot second, but long time. I know, Sam. Yeah, we've been trying to my Saturdays can get busy and crazy. So I finally had one free. I said, hey, I'm good if you're good. And we finally got it to work out. So I'm very excited, guys.
Absolutely. So obviously we're going to open this up with some Michigan Arsenal talk. I mean, why wouldn't we, given the fact that you guys run the show for them? Obviously you're located there in Michigan. You guys have a very big ties to the team, but the main reason why I wanted to start this off is I have not had a chance to discuss their field, which looks amazing. So I think you guys posted some pictures that were, correct me if I'm wrong, through somebody with the team, if I'm not mistaken, and they look amazing. So I kind of wanted to kick it to you, give us your opinion on the field, and if I can get a moment, I'll pull up an image.
Yeah, that's from team photographer Doug Julian. He's been doing a lot of good stuff with the team. We've become pretty close with him over the last few weeks, him doing stuff for the team. And yeah, he's been just posting all these great stuff. They started putting in the field Monday, and I talked to George that night, the owner of the team, and just slowly and steadily more pictures have come out. We get to see the end zones. We get the great drone footage that Doug posted on his Facebook, and I think the Arsenal shared on their Facebook page, and it just looks phenomenal. It's really cool. It's the first time in about 18 years arena football with the Nets is back in Michigan, and I'm just so excited. And I just think that I don't think people are going to be disappointed with what they see tonight, to be honest with you.
No, I think it would be hard to be disappointed. I will say I was not the biggest fan of the away jerseys. They're a little plain for me just based on the color scheme, silver and white. There isn't a lot of contrast there, but I will say the home jerseys look a lot better as well. So I'm excited to see those as well.
Oh yeah, very excited to see them rocking. I got the Royal Retros jersey back there. It was nice to get that in the mail this week, so I can wear that to the game tonight. I think it's gonna look really good, and it's gonna be pretty sweet tonight. I think it's gonna look aesthetically right up there.
I definitely agree. Well, but without waiting too long to pull up this image, I'll get it pulled up as we're going. But Krish, TJ, Cody, TJ, or Jesus, I'm terrible today. But
this is here too.
Everybody.
Yeah, everybody's here today. Exactly.
He's living up to the half-ass producer name.
Pretty soon here, any minute, we'll have a surprise appearance from Trey, I'm sure. But with that being said, there's a couple other topics in the AF1 this week that I wanted to discuss this morning. Obviously, there have been quite a few moves coming out of Kentucky as of late, including a quarterback change. But before we get into that, I mean, let's kind of go over that a little bit. In Kentucky, I think they had Luke Bailey first, if I'm not mistaken. They let Luke Bailey go. Then they brought in Shea Spencer. They also had Dalton Oliver there, who is now placed on league suspension. And now I believe they've signed Daryl Overstreet Jr. from Upper Iowa, a rookie. They also released Vince DeLeo, who was playing fullback and linebacker for him. But a lot of moves there out of Kentucky. Are you guys surprised to see so much quarterback movement there from Kentucky for a team that kind of invested heavily at the position this offseason? Let's go to Adam first on this one.
To be honest with you, with my offseason, it's been a lot of Michigan Arsenal focus. So looking what the Barrels did, it clearly under Coach Walker, it doesn't so far 2 games in, doesn't really matter who they've been throwing in. They've got a heck of a wide receiver core to throw it to, and they got a heck of an offensive line protecting him. So I think whoever they put in there, probably set up for success.
Fair point. And I would say Shea Spencer definitely silenced any critics in his first performance for Kentucky. So very excited to see, what he can do down the pike. And then also Overstreet Jr., great quarterback there. So bringing him in as a depth piece behind Spencer, I think, was a huge move for Kentucky. Krish, what are your thoughts on all the movement from Kentucky?
Yeah, so for Don Oliver leaving, I think it's a whole cover-up, in my opinion. I don't think he actually had a family issue. I think that's, Coach Walker trying to cover it up. You don't suspend a guy who has a family issue. So that's a bunch of bullshit, in my opinion. But Coach Walker is a great coach. He's been around this game, and they got money in Kentucky, so they can pay guys more, right? And Daryl Overstreet should be starting somewhere. He shouldn't be a backup. So he's coming in to be a backup in, the arena style of play when, in my opinion, he fits, the indoor style better. He signed overseas in Poland in March. So I want to know how much they paid him to come and be the backup. That's my opinion. So it's very, very interesting, kind of confusing why you would sign someone that high level to just be a backup.
Well, I think that plays to maybe I don't want to say their doubts, but their maybe potential concerns about Shea Spencer and the ability to consistently do what he did this past week. But TJ, what were your thoughts about the moves by Kentucky?
Yeah, I mean, at quarterback, Shea Spencer last week really kind of put himself in the number 1 spot. He played lights out. Even if he slides off a little bit from last week, last week was near perfect in my opinion. So you can't so you can lose a little bit for him. Obviously going into the season as a inaugural Kentucky Barrels fan, I was watching the team and things like that. So I'm extremely happy that Coach Walker's there. I'm extremely happy that, like Adam said, it seems like the team is built for success no matter who is in that quarterback position. So as long as you don't overly force, those superhero plays, just take what they give you. That's what he did last week, and it turned into a one-sided affair and an 80-point drop. So all things are looking good for Kentucky right now.
Agreed. Cody, what are your thoughts about all the movement there for Kentucky?
I just want to push back a little bit on what Krish said. I don't want to speculate or anything like that, but I've got firsthand or I guess secondhand knowledge from last year of like indoor football league teams suspending players because of family issues. And so we don't know what's going on, but at the same time, I'm not going to speculate on that. We're a couple games into the season. Regardless of the roster moves and stuff like that, it could be in between Kentucky just trying to figure out the right pieces, knowing what they know, or it's just players don't want to be there. I'm not going to speculate on that. I'm not saying that they do or don't, but it could be any bevy of things, man. It could be, hey, this guy fits our scheme a little bit better, so we're going to bring him in. We're going to release this guy. We're going to suspend this guy. So, again, it's all going to move and shake its way out. This isn't the last transaction Kentucky will have, so I'm not going to really just go into it, but hey, these guys are cleaning house, or this team is, going to fold, or no. It just seems like typical AF1 indoor arena transactions. Like, hey, we're moving and shaking, trying to figure it all out.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, outside of the Dalton Oliver thing, that was kind of a little bit of a surprise. I think the rest of that's honestly pretty standard transactions. So let's kick back over to Michigan real quick, who made a flurry of moves over the past couple days, or really the past 2 days, I guess we can say. So bringing in defensive lineman Justin Sykes, offensive lineman Joseph Maxwell, and then also defensive lineman Michael White. They also placed linebacker Jalen Jackson on injured reserve, and then that's weird. He's placed on recallable reassignment and injured reserve. So I think there might have been a typo there. But then also Christopher Fitzgerald placed on recallable reassignment. So kicking back over to Adam here. Adam, what do you make of all these moves from Michigan? You know, now that we're in season, they're kind of shuffling some guys there in the trenches. Do you think that's a good thing given what we've seen from them so far?
I mean, so far their offensive line has been one of the biggest issues. I mean, clearly game one, they had a defensive lineman playing right guard because of, a guy at the last second, needing to be taken off the team for whatever reason. And, so it's always a shuffle. I think that's a position in arena football. If you're not paying for the top tier guys, you might see a lot of shuffling. And I think, Coach Liotta, I trust him. I think a lot of fans should trust him too. It's a lot of mixing and matching. Like he says, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. So you're just trying different guys out. You're just trying different things. But I think the D-line and O-line, along with their special teams, is the biggest question marks for this Michigan team. And I think it's clearly been one of the bigger issues for this team, protecting Malik on the offensive line. Because when he gets time, the dude makes the throws. We all see it. But when he's not given the time, little more frantic throwing. But, it is what it is.
That's fair. They also lost defensive back Isaiah McFarland, who has been a pretty high-level player over the past couple seasons for some AF1 teams. So obviously a kind of a big blow there as well. Any other thoughts on any of those players, or any insight on any of those guys we should be surprised or excited about as fans?
A little surprised about, what would you say, that Fitzgerald was put on restrictive? What's the phrasing for that one?
Recallable reassignment, which I still don't have clarification on how exactly that works.
Yeah, that's a new one to me. I'll have to talk to Coach later today when I see him. But I mean, he just had his first ever touchdown last week. We talked to him on our Inside the Arsenal show. Great kid. I didn't get to meet him. Randy, my dad, got to interview him after the game, and there's more to that interview that I didn't get to share, of those two just having a good old time. And he just seemed like the nicest guy in the world, very, very gracious, very kind. So stinks to kind of see a guy like that get moved, but it's also a business, and they got to make whatever moves they feel like they got to do. And like I said, I trust Coach Liotta, and I feel like fans should trust him too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, leaning on experience there for Liotta for sure. Let's go to Krish on this. Krish, I know there's been a couple other moves, some other stories coming out of the F1 that we can get to. I know there's probably one in particular that I'm sure you want to spend some time on, and that will be the rumors that there are likely some legal actions coming against the Minnesota Monsters. So given that I'm sure this is something you wanted to address, just based on the fact that that's kind of kicking around out over the past couple of days, what are your thoughts on that situation with Minnesota?
Yeah, so I'll start with Michigan. I mean, Liotta, Coach Liotta, I think he's a really good coach. I just don't think him and his brother can recruit for shit, to be honest. They're good at signing people off of other teams' rosters. That's the way they do it, though. That's their model. And that's common for some teams. Certain teams don't want to bring in new guys. They just want to find, recycled guys. So that's what they're doing, and they're trying to find the right pieces. And I think he'll find them. I really do. I really think they'll turn it around and make the playoffs. But for me, like, my big move for Minnesota, my big thought about that is like, Minnesota, like, to have this at this point during the season is crazy. Then in the middle of the season, they hadn't even played a home game. And I think the Arena League did it on purpose before they played a home game to really try to mess them up. So it's very interesting to me. In the article, it mentioned the Eau Claire Axemen were also trying to leave for the AF1. So I thought that was interesting too, considering they had money problems all year last year. So it's a crazy situation, and they better hope it gets fixed, because they have one of the highest payrolls in the country. So if they're dealing with this, You know, the owner had just had a new child on the way, right? And then paying that high payroll. Like, I don't know how that's sustainable. So that's it. They're losing today anyway, though. They'll be 0-2. So.
All right, fair enough. Congratulations to the owner of the Monsters who had just had a child. I was not aware of that. So, definitely want to send, my warm thoughts about that. Love having kids. One of the best things I've ever done. So, TJ, any thoughts on this Minnesota Monsters situation and the statement by Krish specifically where he said the TAL did this on purpose timing wise? Do you think it was intentional timing wise?
Well, first I want to say congratulations as well. And just a heads up, if you thought you weren't getting any sleep before having a kid, you're definitely not getting sleep now. Uh, but yeah, I mean, what a season that they are having. They go through all the weird off-season stuff back and forth with staffing, who's their coach, everything else, and now they get to finally just play the season, and now, this happens. I absolutely think they did this on purpose for this timing, not only to mess them up, but almost ruin, their kind of home game, ruin the little bit of momentum that they're starting to gain, maybe with the league. And to be honest, I just don't get they. I understand, yeah, they tweak stuff kind of in that barely enough category, but I mean, they didn't just straight up keep every logo, every name, and just move over. So, it's to me, this is more of the why do we keep killing each other in this space? It's like, couldn't we have just figured something out maybe behind closed doors? Like, okay, you know what? We'll scratch your back, since we kind of, duped you over situation. But instead, it's just another, we're just going to go sue happy kind of, or at least threaten it. It just, in my opinion, that's one of the reasons why the sport keeps getting hindered back from being put back into mainstream view. It's, we keep eating each other, man. We got to work together better.
Great point. Great point. And honestly, that is an aspect of this sport that I feel is the negative side, right? A lot of these teams are, holding grudges over actions that one person did or whatever, and it's tough. It's tough to watch, good teams, potentially, have detrimental situations like this midseason. We don't want to see any of these guys get affected from a player situation, a coach situation, from an owner situation. We don't want to see any of these owners fail either. So, I think this is a tough timing for the Monsters, and I'm definitely concerned a little bit about it. But like you said, I don't necessarily know that it needed to be like this from the TAL either. But Cody, what are your thoughts on all of this situation for Minnesota?
I think it just comes down to the almighty dollar. I mean, think about it. Minnesota was accused or kind of proven in a sense of throwing a bunch of money around in the offseason. And then to have this litigation kind of come before them, it's like, okay, well, you got money to throw around all of this, then you probably have some money to throw around for that, this lawsuit and everything like that, man. I don't know. We don't know what's going on behind closed doors. I mean, some might have a semblance, but just because everything looked fine for a couple of years doesn't mean that there weren't, bruised egos and, hey, don't worry. And again, I'm not trying to speculate here, but it's like, hey, we're going to stay in the TAL. We're going to stay here and blah, blah, blah. And then as soon as they get that chance, they leave. Again, we don't know. It could be the case, could not be the case. So yeah, like to TJ's credit, it's just, you're tearing people down. I think there's some stuff that might be going on behind closed doors where it's like, hey, you said you do this, but you didn't. And so now we're going to come after you. I have no proof or basis on it, so I'm not trying to put that out in the ether, but there's definitely something that we might not know about that is leading to this. And I truly don't know. But if that's what's going to cause Minnesota, I'm not saying they're going to go under, but if it's going to cause them this much headache and everything, when we've already seen the amount of headaches that Minnesota has gone through, is that something the AF1 wants long term, or is this something that can get sorted out? Is there going to be a settlement? Is there going to be something that goes along with it? I'm not a lawyer, so I can't speak on it. But at the same time, I'm just sitting there going, let's see how this plays out. If it's something that is detrimental to Minnesota, it's going to hurt them pretty bad.
It appears we have a very special guest that just popped in, and I have a feeling he has some insight on the contract situation. So we are joined by the owner of the Omaha Beef, Ricky Burtz. Ricky, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing good, Sam. Honestly, I've got way more issues to worry about of maybe winning a football game this year than talking about this issue. We'll see what happens today. I'll be curious of who Krish picks. I know TJ's always got our back. TJ, I see you, TJ. I appreciate it, man. Look, a couple things, all right? And I've said this before and I'll say it again. First of all, I've gotten to know Jacob Lambert with the AF1. Great guy, asks a lot of questions, really wants to do things the right way and everything else. So I want nothing but all these leagues to figure the situation out on their own. But I will say this, and TJ, to your point, you talked about a change in the name, change in the logo, and everything else. I brought this up on the show with Mike Davis. I think this was probably back in September, October. Look, we had the same situation where was it the West Texas Desert Hawks changed their new name, their logo, whatever. At the end of the day, guys, I'm just going to say this, and I said that. I'm jumping around here because there's so much I want to say. First of all, as a guy that has been 100% directly involved every time a league takes on another league in regards to their league affiliation agreement, from a legal standpoint, it looks really bad on the league that's going after the other one if they don't give that said league an opportunity to rectify the situation. Every time I've been involved doing this, it's never happened where that league responds. Nobody ever responds until their seasons threaten to be discontinued. And so I'm going to steal TJ for a second here. I'll steal TJ as an example. TJ, let's say I own a McDonald's and I sell you the McDonald's, all right? And it's changed from one company name to another. You might tweak your logo just a little bit or whatever along those lines, but you have a multi-year commitment with McDonald's. Well, if you start doing things outside of that commitment, McDonald's is 100% going to come after you, TJ, and your business regardless. And I can just say that with multi-year league affiliation agreements signed in the TAL, heck, even the AF1 has them and the IFL does as well. It's going to happen where if you don't uphold your obligations, that you can be liable for that. I have no doubt at all that the TAL's tried to rectify this situation. I don't know which way or the other what's happened, but it'll look really bad from a legal standpoint if again the TAL didn't try resolving this issue prior to the season starting. But again, I've been involved in this 3 or 4 times now, and every single time nothing gets resolved by the team until they realize they're on the verge of getting shut down. And I hope that doesn't happen for the industry, because you are correct. I think it was TJ or Krish might have made the comment where we kind of beat each other up, but unfortunately we are where we are, and nobody should be surprised at this whole situation. My personal opinion is getting to know Jake Lambert a little bit. I think he might have got potentially some bad advice. I don't know if that's the case or not, but I hope they can rectify it, because it's bad for the industry where we're beating one another up.
I'm curious, from a league perspective, is there a buyout clause in some of these contracts? Like, is there a way that these teams can, for lack of a better term, buy their freedom out of a contract to go to another league, or is it strictly where you're in it, you're in it?
No, 100%. I mean, in essence, Sam, it's the league that you're in. You've made a commitment to fulfill those obligations. If you're not going to fulfill those obligations, you can get out of them by buying your way out, or you have to remain dormant. Now, look, the point of me getting on, though, the number one reason why this is important as an industry, I'll say this was back in 2000 and I think it was 2016 when I was in the CIF. We had another league that is still around to this day, tried going and buying teams out of our league during the season to get them to leave to go play in their said league during the season. And that would have been detrimental to any organization for that to happen. I mean, imagine if, and look, I mean, I'll since we're talking about the TAL, I hope they won't get offense to this, but I have the Nebraska Danger right down the street from me. What if during the season, the Nebraska Danger season, the NAL goes on ahead and makes an offer to try to buy or incentivize, because this happened where a certain owner offered 2 teams 6-figure salaries to leave their league. But if I try to get them to leave the TAL to come to the NAL, if these contracts aren't enforced, these league affiliation agreements enforced, it'll literally become the wild, wild west where as chaotic as it might be with this whole situation of what's going on within the industry, it'll get even worse, because then you're going to be having players leaving. I'm sorry, you're going to have organizations leaving and going to another league. No different than, we'll use the NFL. Sam, you are a massive Eagles fan. What happens if Jalen Hurts all of a sudden say, I'm a Rams fan, say, we wouldn't do this, but we go and we offer Jalen Hurts money to leave during the season to come play for the Rams instead? What would that do for the NFL? It would be detrimental to it. And so I've done this long enough to see firsthand where leagues have tried poaching teams from other leagues to be detrimental to that league during their season to put them in a better position. And that's why the importance of these contracts has to be enforced. I hope I've articulated that well, if that makes sense.
No, that makes perfect sense, and I think you hit the nail on the head right there. Like you said, there'd be teams leaving mid-season, and leagues reshuffling schedules on the fly, left, right, and center, and it just would be bad for everybody. So I definitely agree that the contracts need to be enforced. I was just curious about the buyout situation, because if there's a way that you can rectify these situations before they even get to litigation, why are we not doing this? Why do owners do that?
And Sam, like I said, is this 3 or 4 times I've done it? I can guarantee you that I got to be careful, because I've signed NDAs in some of this, being star witnesses in some of the situations, but I can guarantee you there were offers made every single time to come to a buyout, and you tell the opposing team, this is going to get more expensive for you the further it gets along, because it's one of those situations now all of a sudden the other team gets their back pushed against the wall. There's legal cost involved. There's leverage involved. And sometimes you can say the wrong thing to the wrong person, and it doesn't become about money anymore. It becomes about, hey, we're going to prove who's right and who's wrong, And I can tell you, every single time the offer that has been made and an alternate arrangement made before the season kicks off, before a team potentially losing games and everything else, that price of getting that buyout goes up astronomically. It goes up astronomically for all those reasons that I lined out to you. And then here's the bigger issue, though, is it's not so much you guys talked about the home game. Look, and I'll just use myself for example. I'm playing a team tonight. It's if I was going to have my home game shut down by the league, it's not as much of an issue versus my road games, because my team's problems preventing me from playing at home are not as big as versus I'm expected to show up on the road somewhere. So I don't know what Minnesota's schedule is, and again, like I said, I've had a great working relationship with Jacob Lambert. I don't know as much as I've gotten to know him over the last couple months working with him. We haven't actually discussed this specifically, but I think he's a very smart business guy. I'm sure that he was probably shared some information or some advice. I don't know what the outcome's going to be. I'm going to wish them the best of luck. But it's the road games that you worry about, because again, Sam, I'm going to go back to the Rams and the Eagles. The Eagles have a home game this coming weekend. I own the Rams. My team has an injunction being filed against me. Sam, you have sold season tickets, partnerships, revenue opportunities, all that stuff. It becomes a bigger issue or concern for the my road games versus my home games. So now all of a sudden you might have a problem with your organization, and while there's pressure to get that resolved, now you have these teams that you're expected to show up. What the hell is going on? What's happening? Is my team going to be here? It is a situation or a dynamic that really compounds itself several times over. And again, I wish we didn't get to that situation or that point. But and like I said, I've been involved in several of these dynamics myself personally. But I can tell you the reason why I go on into those is that it's to prevent this happening during the season, because I've done this long enough that it's been not threatened before. Offers have been made before during the season. This is when I was in the CIF. For some of our member teams to leave to go somewhere else, for them to go somewhere else during the season, that would have been detrimental. And they were heavily incentivized to do that financially to do it.
Appreciate you giving us the insight, because I'd be honest, this is one realm that I think you're probably the biggest and best expert on the sport, when it comes to the contracts and league affiliation agreements. So we really appreciate you coming on and giving that as insight, because honestly, there's a lot of questions about this that we just don't have the answers for. So,
well, I said hopefully they work the whole situation out, and I I'll say this. I mean, I know that part of that dynamic, whenever you buy, I've never met it before where somebody doesn't buy a business. They're told things are set a certain way. And some of this is going to be the situation of the paperwork that was signed prior to Jacob taking over. Like I said, I think he's a smart business guy. He's a good guy for the community and all that. I hope they give everything kind of lined out, you know. But again, hopefully the leagues take care of it, because this is one of the downfalls of the industry. Of rather than trying to grow the industry, we're so hell bent on fighting one another, and that doesn't help anybody when it happens.
Completely agree. Completely agree.
So, well, hey, Sam, I appreciate you, Cody, TJ, everything you guys do for the industry, and thanks for letting us have this opportunity to share more information with people out there, with the fans, guys. Appreciate it.
I appreciate everything you do for us, Ricky. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Now see if we can win a game for once. See if we can win a game. See you guys.
Something tells me that O is going to leave real quick.
I hope so.
Awesome. So I'm a great insight there from Ricky.
I'm sorry, man. I don't want to say that while he was on, but
oh man, you wait for the second he gets off.
I'm just saying, man, that fuck that zone defense ain't going away, so they ain't winning.
Oh Lord.
I'm gonna go off air the whole time they're on air, but the second they leave, I'm gonna talk smack.
It's Chris to a T. But let's focus back on the AF1. Obviously, we don't want to talk strictly on negative things this week. That's unfortunately just one of the big pieces of information that came out this week. And as y'all know, this is a news show. We cover all the big news on all the leagues. So it's not necessarily, our desire to cover the negative stuff all the time, but we wanted to get that out there. And maybe we have a little bit more information now that we didn't have before in terms of how these legal proceedings work. And maybe, there's some chance for some amicable results here, and maybe Monsters can continue playing in the AF1 and won't be an issue, and then TAL can go along their way and continue to grow their league as well. So let's all hope that's the end result of these situations, even if it does have to come to some sort of court date, because like Ricky said, we don't want to see any of these leagues affected, whether it's the TAL side or the AF1 side. We want everybody to finish out their seasons, all the players to get paid, et cetera, et cetera. So,
yeah, and to kind of piggyback off that real,
Chris shouldn't be talking about zone defense.
Man, y'all got Arizona next week, bro. Like, you better lock in, man. I'm just saying,
And Drayshawn Hudson's open for another touchdown.
Sorry, TJ, what were you saying, man?
Oh no, that was so worth it. We obviously do this because we're fans of the game. So when we get this negative stuff out there, it's more like constructive criticism. We want things to improve because of this. I personally dream of a time where I can go back to my 12, 13-year-old aged fan self, where the sport's on ESPN, NBC, getting the respect it deserves. So, again, it's all for the betterment of the sport.
100%. And I truly, truly believe in the bottom of my heart, we are on that path to get back there. We just need to continue down this route, find more great owners to bring teams into bigger markets and markets that need football, and we'll continue to be able to grow the game as a whole. But back to the actual positive news. So we talked earlier about some Kentucky transaction information. We got a little bit off track, and honestly, that's my fault for throwing the Minnesota stuff in the middle there. Oregon's made a series of moves. They've released offensive lineman Solomon Polk, 6'7", 330 pounds, big dude. They brought in offensive lineman Jeremiah Zine, and I believe linebacker Brian Foy. Don't quote me on that. I did not write down his position. Albany brought in a quarterback that looks extremely promising, although it doesn't seem like they really need another quarterback to start anyway, given the way that Josh Kolka has played. But they also brought in wide receiver Aaron Dilworth, which we'll talk a little bit more about in just a second, and then fullback linebacker Vince DeLeo, who was previously cut by Kentucky. Let's unpack this Aaron Dilworth situation a little bit. Obviously, as we all know, Dilworth was one of the leading receivers of the Pueblo Punishers for the National Arena League. Some news came out, I believe, a week ago at this point, that he had signed or been announced by the Arkansas Diamonds of the TAL, the Arena League, and then was subsequently suspended in the National Arena League because of a contract that he signed with the TAL. Well, amidst all of this trying to get figured out, he has now signed with Albany in the AF1. So In the matter of like 3 weeks, he's gone from maybe not leaving the Punishers to leaving the Punishers to suspended in the NAL to signed to the TAL to signed to the AF1. But what we really want to discuss here is his addition to that Albany offense. So Albany 2-0 already, looking really dangerous as they always do. As I mentioned, Josh Kolka playing out of his mind right now. He gets another talented target, 6'3", 215 pounds. Dude is a red zone threat, as we all saw with Pueblo. So with that in mind, I mean, the rich kind of get richer in this situation. They had DeLeo, they had Phoenix. Who's stopping Albany in the AF1? Let's go to Adam first on this one.
That's a good question. Who is stopping? It's hard to say 2 weeks in because Albany hasn't hung up the points like Nashville and Kentucky did, but I think, from what I've seen so far, that Nashville defense has got some dudes on it. I think Nashville could give Albany a run for their money. We'll have to wait and see. They're going to cross paths here, in a few weeks. But I think, Kentucky and Nashville, at the moment, anything can change. Damon Ware likes to put that chip on his shoulder. The moment, somebody says something like that, it's all bets are off, and he's going at him with everything he's got. And then Albany doesn't get beat. That's how they've remained undefeated for almost 2 seasons now. So I don't know. Those are the two best teams, I think, to give it a shot. But this is also arena football. Anything can happen any given game day. But don't ever count out Damon Ware, and don't ever count out the Firebirds right now until they lose a game. It's hard to discount them at all.
Refresh my memory. Have they lost a game since they've joined the AFL?
Not the AF1. In the AFL, what was it? They lost the Arena Bowl 33 before they
That's right.
AFL. So, but I mean, since they joined AF1, it has been, they've had some games where maybe they've looked a little more prone to being able to lose than others. But I mean, they've been able to pull it out at the end. They've been able to show a lot of consistency when they had Cashinova, when they had who I think should have been league MVP. That's right. I'm going to throw it out there. Henry Nell should have been MVP last year. Come at me, comments. I'm not going to die on. I will die on that hill. And look where they're at now. Their kicking game, their kicker can barely hit the nets now. So I'm thinking that's the real MVP they're missing. But other than that, don't ever count out Damon Ware and those Firebirds till they lose a game.
That's fair. That's fair. Krish, I see your tagline here. It says free AD. That's obviously about Aaron Dilworth, number 0. What is there to free, my friend?
So for me, look, I've come at Pueblo all year. You know what I mean? I've criticized them. I've criticized Solo. I criticized Tay. I mean, I put them in the bottom tier. But for me, this situation, I support Pueblo 100%. Aaron Dilworth should have been suspended, in my opinion. I mean, I've heard from multiple sources there were no contract signed with Hot Springs. So the word of mouth. So we're suspending players. I don't, I support, and we'll talk about it in the NAL segment a little more, But in my opinion, why are we worried about that? Why are we worried about a guy saying he's leaving if he hasn't left yet? Why are we not worried about our social media? Why are we not worried about the NAL network I paid $30 for and the documentary that posted 1 episode and stopped? Why are we not worried about that? I feel like the focus is on the wrong thing, in my opinion. So it just makes me upset. They did my boy so dirty. He should be out there playing. He's number 1 receiver in the NAL. I ranked him number 3. He was crushing my expectations. And, it's just disappointing. It's a huge loss for the league. But he's going to Albany now. He's going to get his money. So get your bread, any way you can. But also, that receiving core is overloaded. Tyree Chamber, Darian Townsend, Isaiah Scott, Dwan Brown, now Aaron Dilworth. What do you do with all these receivers? How do you rotate them in? Does Townsend see more time on special teams and DB, and they let Aaron Dilworth kind of take that, swap position? It's a little confusing in my opinion. Why you keep adding receivers and spending that type of money to keep all 5 of them on the roster, So, but Eric Phoenix is a great signing. I mean, South Carolina State. You talk about a SWAC All-American, really, really good. I got to give Coach Davis down in Vegas credit. He's been talking about him for a hot minute, just giving him praise and stuff. So, he clearly knows a thing or two about football. But it's good. It's good to see young quarterbacks are the future of this game, in my opinion. If you can get younger guys in here, yeah, it's good. It's good for the game. So
That's fair. Random thought. Is it possible Aaron Dilworth is just in Albany right now because the TAL season has not begun?
yeah, I
And
think he's gonna leave. He makes too much in the hot springs. I mean,
that's my thought process. Maybe he's like an injury replacement for somebody that we're not privy to because they weren't placed on IR or something. Maybe it's a short-term situation.
no offense, they play 2 bona fide preseason games this week and next week against Oregon and Washington, so he might get some more time or whatever. So
something tells me you're probably right. Something tells me there's going to be some snaps to go around for some players in these games. But TJ, what are your thoughts on this whole situation, as well as just the other moves that Albany's made, as well as Oregon too, that I mentioned?
Yeah, I mean Albany, it's like it was said, the rich get richer. You think Castronova is gone, you're like, oh man, they're probably still going to be elite, but they might actually be beatable. And then what happens? They get their own Colcomania going on. So they Damon Ware, man, you can't you can't count him out, man. He's always thinking he's playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers. He's the top coach in the league and the sport. Uh, you know, other teams and coaches, I got to agree with Adam. Those are my two. Nashville with Coach Arbette, and then Kentucky with Coach Walker. They both seem like they can compete offensively with Albany and keep up points wise. It just depends on can they make the plays consistently enough to beat Albany, because we've seen close games for Albany since they've joined the AF1 and really back to the AFL season. And for the most part, it's always first half can be close, but it's like that halftime adjustment, that nutrition in the second half, they just wear you down. And the next thing you know, they're up by double digits. So they'll be a tough team to beat, but I think Nashville and Kentucky have the best shot to do that. Oregon, it's good to see them leveling up a little bit. You know, they're building things. To Krish's comment though, I also got to throw a shout out to Washington. Do not sleep on them, man. I feel like they're brewing a little bit this season. They're coming out a little slow, but they're going to be better than last year. I feel like they really are.
Fair point. We all thought that it has not panned out as of yet, so we'll see what happens down the stretch. But
are you serious about that? Or are you for
Yeah, man, dude, give them some time to play and stuff like. I like what is happening in Washington, man. The eye appeal is way up this year. Their field is way better, and now they're starting to focus on getting better players and winning some games. I'm not saying they're going to instantly get to the playoffs this year. They're instantly going to be in the championship game, but they're going to make some significant strides this season and next year, guaranteed be a playoff team, in my opinion.
I want to go off that point for a sec, right? I will say they traded for Henry Kellogg this week. Henry Kellogg led the AFL in sacks 2 years ago with Salina. He refused to report, right?
Thank you. I was just going to say that.
That to me tells me everything I need to know. He doesn't want to play for hoot and hollering coach who thinks he knows a thing or two about the game. He wants to play for a real ball coach. So it's kind of crazy what they got going in Washington. They have a huge culture issue, and they're going to get railed by Nashville today. So
looks like we got some breaking news, and I'm willing to bet I know who this is.
Yeah,
referring to Javai Magalay.
Is that the guy who quit and went to Tucson and then came back?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, I mean, regardless of how it happens, I personally think Magalay is the most talented quarterback they got on the roster.
100%.
Why he was not starting prior to this week, I'm not sure. I've heard that JR's system can be a little bit difficult to digest. Maybe they were just kind of giving him some time to come in and learn everything, and then hit the ground running type thing. And hopefully Washington looks up from here. But Cody, I wanted to get to your thoughts on this situation. What do you think about all these moves by Albany, as well as the other moves by Oregon, Washington, all of these teams?
I'll make the joke, but I think with the moves by Washington, they might be able to score 21 points. So, no, I mean it's what we talked about last week. I think when Krish and I were on the show, we're like, Washington looks the part. They're just not putting it all together. And what's been a couple of years now where this offense just does not put up points for some reason. I'm not really sure. They bring in the players, the coaches, whatever the case to be. somehow it looks good, but it plays horribly. And I don't know. For Albany, I think we've said it in the offseason. We might have mentioned it last week. I'm not sure, but you can kind of put the AF1 into tiers. It's kind of like what TJ and Adam have said. It's like Nashville, Kentucky, and Albany are probably in tier 1. And then, people can argue probably tier 2, possibly tier 3. And when you put kind of, I wouldn't say Oregon and Washington probably closer to tier 3, what do you do with Beaumont? What do you do with Oceanside and even Minnesota? Like, when it comes to it, you can make arguments for both sides, or on all sides, excuse me. But I think we're all in a clear consensus that those top 3 teams, Albany's probably 1, and then you might interchange Nashville and Kentucky. But it's only 1 game in the championship. Albany can be had. So to everyone's credit, everyone's already said it, so I'll just piggyback. Like, Albany, they get richer. But just because they have all that talent, there's only 1 ball to go around. So how do you weave that in there?
You know what really irks me, and I'm on one today. I'm sorry, but you know what really irks me is, when he sits there, Coach J.
Warning.
He sits there and talks about how this is a player-led program. Like, do we even know what that fucking means? Or are you just saying that? And that's the problem. It's half these coaches sit here and they say stuff and they don't even follow through. It just makes it look good on the outside. What's a player-led program? You ain't got no leaders in that locker room. So stop bluffing, man. Like, no, it just doesn't sit well with me.
Fair point. I'm going to need to get a curse word bleep going on in the sound bites here, because there have been some F-bombs dropped on the show. And this is a family show, gentlemen. Family show. My kid was sitting right here. He's never heard the F word before in his life. Ever. Not once. Just kidding. But anyway, any other AF1 topics you guys want to discuss? I know, well, actually, sorry, let me back up a little bit. Washington placed Michael Fields on suspension. He has signed with the Iowa Barnstormers per his Instagram. So, look for him to pop up in Iowa here. They also traded for Henry Kellogg from Beaumont, which, as Krish mentioned, he has refused to report to Washington. So that is also another piece of information there for Washington. They also activated offensive lineman Abu Bangura from injured reserve. Another subject that I really wanted to touch on real quick before we move on from the AF1 in general. Co-MVPs, if I saw this correct, of the week, Tyler and Josh Kolka, which I thought was kind of cool. Kind of brothers in arms there, I think was the tagline that they put on there. But Tyler Kolka wins Player of the Week days before his child was born. So kind of a cool situation for him. Congratulations to Tyler Kolka and his wife there, as well as, welcome to the world to his new little baby. I believe his name is Luke Kolka, if I'm not mistaken. So congratulations to Tyler Kolka. And as mentioned before, congratulations to Jacob, who had a child born as well with Minnesota. So any other thoughts, topics, feelings, anything you guys want to get to?
We got to do our game picks for the week, man.
Perfect. Let's get into it. Let me pull up the schedule real quick because I don't have it on me right now. Any other thoughts, topics, anything that we missed that you guys want to discuss?
Adam, what's your Lions draft grade?
So far, I give them an A. We got a lineman we needed, and we got an edge rusher, which everybody's been complaining about. So I'm happy. And I know my brother-in-law, who's a Michigan fan, is also double happy that he gets a guy jumping from U of M over to Detroit.
Nice.
So, not that I want to spend a ton of time in the NFL draft, but did you see the defensive lineman the Broncos got? They posted a video of him doing like parkour as training and he like literally climbs up this steel beam like 3 stories and then like jumps a flight, some stairs. It's nuts. Dude looks like an animal. But back to the AF1. Let me pull up this schedule here. We have 4 games for week 3, and actually it looks like a pretty good slate of games here. I think we can honestly say this might be one of the best weeks as of late for the AF1. But as you can see here, we've got Washington versus Nashville, Minnesota versus Michigan, Albany versus Oregon, Oceanside versus Beaumont. So let's go ahead and just run down the line. I'm going to go to each of you guys. We'll just go ahead and give all 4 picks at once. So with that being said, we'll just go ahead and start at the bottom, work our way up. Cody, you happen to be at the bottom at the moment. Let's get your picks first, my friend. About that. Whenever you're ready, Cody.
I was gonna say that's one way to start it off. Yeah, I mean, I'm not really going to go into detail, but we'll just go Nashville. I think they're just the far superior team. We're still waiting for Washington to break out, apparently, but Nashville looks good. We're putting them in that upper echelon. We'll go from there. Minnesota, Michigan might be game of the week just because I don't know how this can go. I think Minnesota could pull this out. Michigan being at home with the home opener, with the home crowd, and obviously that beautiful turf. Give me Michigan at home. Give me the Arsenal at home. I think Minnesota, with all of the distractions and everything, might be a little bit of a hindrance. So give me Michigan. Albany, Oregon. Albany, self-explanatory right there. Even though they're going on the road and have to go literally coast to coast, just give me Albany. Does Beaumont get revenge? I don't know. Oceanside, they've looked good. They've looked bad. Give me Beaumont. I think they do. I think they get revenge on this one.
Cody, I forgot to tell you, I'm very impressed, sir. You were talking and you managed to throw this message in the chat while you were talking. It's impressive. Just kidding. Sea-Dog, we go. Thanks for tuning in, man. We really appreciate you being here every week. Quentin Humphrey, thanks for tuning in as well. Appreciate all you guys dropping comments. Keep them coming. We appreciate all the engagement. Without further ado, though, Adam, who do you have in these games this week?
I think Nashville. I feel bad for the people watching nationally televised this week. I don't think Washington, is going to score more than 20 points. It was mentioned earlier. I just don't trust them. So I think Nashville is going to have a field day with that on national television. In my humble opinion, it should have been the Arsenal-Minnesota game on Vice, but I mean, maybe there's a little bias there. I don't know, but it should have been. I think this will be a way more competitive game. We try not to pick, especially now doing the Arsenal show. We try not to pick games every week, but I am leaning Michigan in this one. I think Minnesota will be a tough, more evenly matched opponent for them as compared to like Nashville or Kentucky were for the last couple of weeks. But I think Michigan's a team that's going to be growing as they go along. I think this should be a fun one, and I think they're going to shell out for the home crowd tonight. Looking very excited to tailgate and go up there a couple hours and see what everything's about for their first game. Albany on the road. I'll take the Firebirds. I mean, nothing against Oregon. I love Dalton Cole and friend of the world of football there, but I think Albany's going to go out and take that one on the West Coast. And I'll take Oceanside. I like what Oceanside's done. They've been a big surprise, probably the biggest surprise in the AF1 so far. I don't think a lot of people gave them much going into the season. And while I like Beaumont's field, I don't trust Beaumont yet. I haven't really seen much out of them other than that opening game against Oceanside, but I think Oceanside takes that one.
Fair points. We have a comment in the chat, and this is something that we did not discuss with AF1. There have been rumors that Oceanside is on their way out. And I think obviously, as Adam just mentioned, a lot of people have not really been giving them a ton of credit to begin with. Honestly, I think they came out and looked a lot better than we all gave them credit for. So hopefully they don't fold, but there have been some whispers going around about them potentially going away in the near future. So hopefully it's not correct, but we shall see what happens. 1060 Designs checking in again. Not as good as the new lineman for the Patriots. Loved his intro video. I did not catch that. I'll have to go watch it. We got a Krish call out, but we'll get back to that in just a second. TJ, who are your picks this week?
Yeah, I said I'm a believer in Washington, but this is more of a measuring stick game for them. How long can they stay in the game? How well can they perform against one of the better teams in the league? So with that being said, Nashville's picking Nashville. Minnesota, Michigan. That's like a coin toss game. It really should have been the national game. I agree with that statement. But I'm going to go with Michigan at home on that awesome looking home turf. Albany, Oregon, again, it's Oregon just try to do your best, see how you can measure up against Albany because, obviously Albany's is the number one team in the league. They're the defending champs, etc. Oceanside and Beaumont, that's another coin toss game, especially with some rumors going around about Oceanside, but I'm going to pick Oceanside to win, to go in and win.
Interesting. Adam, is this extra little video here from you?
Yeah, I figured if you wanted to show, this is the drone footage that Doug released the other day. I figured if you wanted to use it, if it uploads, if you want to use it, it's up to you.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks great. So we'll definitely play that in just a sec. Krish, what are your picks, my friend?
Yeah, so I think Nashville, they rail Washington. I got Nashville 75, and I think 75-20. I think Washington is horrible. Michigan, Minnesota. Minnesota's a lot of injuries. Jamal Couch is on IR. Clarence Williams is on IR. Clarence Williams, he's a great receiver. He opens up the other receivers on the field. So now having him out there, the big loss. I don't know who's going to be playing receiver for Minnesota today. I mean, they're injured. Shakai Holiness, one of the best interior D linemen in the entire league, is out today too. So again, a lot of injuries, but I don't want that to be an excuse. You do them sign-on bonuses to go 0-2, right? So you have to win this game. This is a must-win game for Minnesota, but they won't win today. Malik Henry is going to throw for 300 yards. I remember what Minnesota said to Malik a long time ago, so they'll regret that today. But I feel like, Darren Clark in the offense, 23 points. I thought he was supposed to be one of the best OCs in the country. We need to see that today. We need to see them score points. But I got this game 51-35. Give me Michigan. Albany, Oregon, I'm not even going to watch this. It's a waste of time. I will say Oregon has talented skill position players. That receiving core is one of the better receiving cores in the AF1 with Maurice Ashley, Chris Lewis, and Donovan Ali. But I think Albany is just so dominant. So give me Albany. I'm going to say 58-33. Yeah, Albany. I think Albany wins. And then Beaumont, Oceanside, it's really interesting to me. So for Beaumont, Robinson, former NAL MVP, started the first two games. He looked a little shaky. He's turned over the ball 4 times. He was pulled towards the end of the game. They put Andrew McBride in. So Andrew McBride was a quarterback. He played for Wheeling when they were in the American Arena League 2. So he has familiarity with the under center arena style of play. So he came in, he threw 2 touchdowns. I wonder if they start him over Robinson this week. I'm looking to see that. But Oceanside, I heard they're about to fold too. So, too much emotion. Give me Beaumont to win by 10. I will say Oceanside, number 1 receiver in the AF1. He leads the league in receiving and touchdowns. I wonder where he started his career at. So, good to see Pirates guys,
Hey, they got to win somewhere. With that being said, here's some footage from the new Michigan Arsenal field, which very excited to see this if it pulls up. Perfect. There we go. That looks amazing. I cannot wait to see this in person tonight.
Yeah, so excited to have the Rebound Nets back in Michigan. Like I said, we were at probably the final Grand Rapids Rampage game back in 2008. And so 18 years to get arena football or pure arena football back in the state of Michigan. I'm going to be a kid in a candy store, probably just living my best life tonight. So I'm sure there'll be pictures. If you guys follow World of Football, we'll post pictures, videos. I'm sure I can get Randy to do something embarrassing tonight.
Oh, shoot. My mistake. I apparently just kicked Adam out. That is totally my fault. Let me get him right back on.
Half-ass producer.
Yep, half-ass producer. I was trying to close out his video and it kicked him out. Let me get him right back on. Dear Lord. Let me hit a quick commercial break. We'll get him right back on. I apologize to everybody watching, and Adam, as soon as we get him back on, I will apologize to him as well. Give us just a moment. We'll be right back. All right, we got him back. I am so sorry, Adam. That is 100% my fault. You're muted, sir.
How's he muted every time?
You're muted, buddy.
I was talking.
See this? I'm
There
not
we go.
used to being on the other side of things, Sam. I'm used to running our show, so I'm like, why is my mic not working?
Yeah, that's totally my fault. I apologize. I tried to close out the video, and all of a sudden it booted you out. And I was like, oh no. So yeah, I apologize. My apologies.
All good.
That's why the tagline is half-ass producer. I only halfway do this. So
Hey, being on the other
I don't
side of
think
things,
you like
Sam,
your
I
tape.
know how hard it is, so it's all good.
So I'm sorry. What were you saying? You said you'll be able to get Randy to do something embarrassing, and I believe I cut you off.
We usually do. If you guys have ever watched any of our World of Football videos, we do travel logs. Sometimes I don't even have to do anything. He just does stuff unprompted, like go to the Uranus Fudge Factory on his trip down to Nashville and get a picture with that sign. You know, he just takes really funny selfies, and I don't know. He's just my dad is just one of the most fun people you could ever go to a football game with. I've been very blessed for my whole life to kind of travel with him and do all these cool football things we do at the World of Football, and you know, I'm curious how he's going to be tonight because I know he's just as excited, maybe if not more so than me, to see arena football back, you know, in our great state. And, you know, George, the owner for the Arsenal, has just been so gracious to us. It seems like he's putting a lot of good stuff together. Sean's been great to us. So I think tonight's going to be very special for fans of Michigan arena football.
And you guys have championship history, correct, with Clint Ozell, I believe, at quarterback?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's buried back there somewhere, but I have a Clint Dolzell. Oh, yeah. It's always there. The greatest arena football quarterback of all time, bar none. Sorry, Kurt Warner. Sorry, Aaron Garcia. I will go there. The Clint Dolzell is the GOAT and does not get as much love as he deserves. And actually, he was a mentor to our quarterback, Malik Henry. We've heard Malik talk about that on one of our interviews we did with him. But yeah, the 2001, we're coming up to the 25th anniversary of that Arena Bowl championship that was in Grand Rapids for the Rampage. August 19th, 2001, fellas. I will remember that day forever. We had to actually, and thanks to our friend Trey from Off the Wall, we got to relive that. I want to say a couple years ago on his turf tapes, we got to watch that game again. And that was a heck of an experience. And been wanting to try to put something together for the 25th anniversary of the Grand Rapids Rampage winning that championship this year, but we'll see what we got. You know, I got a little one on the way too in the next month or so. So my schedule might get hectic. I might not be on the internet as much, but hey, it's all good. And I'm just so excited for tonight, guys. You have no idea.
Absolutely. We'll definitely be looking forward to it and keeping an eye on your page, of course. So if you didn't catch it before, I did drop the link in the chat. I will drop it again. Make sure you subscribe to World of Football on YouTube. Follow them on Twitter. You guys are also on a couple other platforms, but I don't want to misspeak. Can you kind of fill anybody in who wants to follow along with your guys' content?
Yeah, for sure. We're on Facebook. You know, just look for the World of Football. I believe everything is TWOF Kalamazoo across all of it because we're centered right here in Kalamazoo. And for years, my dad has said Kalamazoo is the center of the football world because, you know, we had NFL teams within a 2-hour drive. We've had college, you know, big college markets within a 2-hour drive. And my dad said, look, we have all these great things within a 2-hour drive of Kalamazoo. We're practically the center of the football world, and it's stuck. And obviously, if you've seen some of our road trip videos, there's no road trip we won't make for some good football. And yeah, so Instagram, X, Facebook, Twitter, Threads. I think that's all the social medias I can handle right now, being our quote social media guy, while Randy has frustrations with technology. So I handle all of that and the technical side. So the moment I go out with a baby, you might see less content. Let's just be honest. Randy probably can't run a StreamYard production to save his life, but I'm trying to teach him. I'm trying to teach him.
That's fair. That's fair. If it's any consolation to anybody out there, your father is much more capable technology-wise than mine could ever be. I think
don't
if
give
we
Randy
tried
that
to
much credit. Come on now.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure if I tried to run a show with my father, we would just have a view up his nose the entire show or something because he would have no idea how to adjust a camera.
You're not far. Randy might do the same depending on what device he's handed. So I'm just gonna throw that out there.
I'm just saying, from an outsider's perspective, I think you guys do great. Your content's very entertaining. Like you said, you never know when you're gonna get, you know, a funny post. You know, like the Uranus sign you mentioned before. Definitely caught that one. That cracked me up quite a bit. But I mean, you guys are great. You guys are great. You cover a little bit of everything. You know, obviously, I was just scrolling through your Twitter. You got UFL stuff on there, some CFL stuff on there. Obviously, NFL, AF1. So, I mean, if you're a football fan and you're watching the show and you're not already subscribed or following World of Football, highly recommend it. Great follow. Very entertaining content. And then lots of it, you know, lots to absorb there. So definitely make sure you're clicking that link in the chat, subscribing while we're here. Make sure they hit 1,500 today. We'll make it happen for you. I make sure.
I'll be ecstatic. I believe I just saw one of those Facebook memories that said we hit 800 followers like a year or two, or probably 2 years ago. So we've come a long way. It's been really awesome. Of the community, of the arena space, the indoor space, all of you guys have been really gracious and nice to us. It means so much to us. And to be on here with you guys, Cody, Krish, TJ, I've watched you guys for a little while now. Krish, I mean, fellow Michigan Arsenal fan, bud. Like, let me know when you're gonna get out to a game. We'll try to hang out, but it's been a blast, guys. And also, if you like videos of old man Randy going to the graves of dead football players or coaches, keep an eye on the channel. Randy's got a couple down the pipeline. He's waiting to record a brand new intro, which might be the most Randy thing of all time, which I cannot wait for us to put out into the world. But he's got the grave of Reggie White he visited down in one of the Carolinas. And then he just visited this week the grave of Lou Holtz. So expect a couple of travel videos from Randy all about, those two great football legends.
Rest in peace to those great men. And Lou Holtz was a very recent one. So that's, obviously we're sad to have lost him, but that's kind of a cool thing on your channel as well that I was not aware of. So I'll have to go check those out. That's an interesting wrinkle, to say the least.
This man, he will make a road trip plan. If he's not stopping at a Buc-ee's, he's stopping at a grave somewhere. He's like, hey, so-and-so, this former player from the CFL back in the early 50s is here. So we're going to stop by. We're going to get a picture there, or we'll turn it into a video. So that's my dad for. That's what I've grown up with for the last 30 years of being a football fan, and then growing his little website into a social media presence.
That's crazy. That's so much fun. Honestly, I'm a little jealous of your guys' your pursuits in football together. That's pretty awesome. But with that being said, Adam, thank you so much for joining us today. And I let me just say with great certainty, this will not be the last time we invite you on. So we will love to have you on again in the future.
Hey, I appreciate it. I would love to come on again. Like I said, schedules is the pain in the butt. Sam, I know with your little ones, I get it. And me with a little one about to come down, in a month or so, it's going to be crazy for me, but I will try, guys. You give me a heads up, I will try to make it work.
Definitely. And vice versa. Same here. We'll make sure I get on there and return the favor to you as well. So with that being said, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Enjoy the game tonight, and we'll definitely be following along with you.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys. Enjoy it. I think it'll be the best game of the night. Go Arsenal.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Go Arsenal. Without further ado as well, if you did not watch the AAL draft, we got a special commercial for you this morning. So keep a close eye on this. You might be very interested to hear what it has to say.
Hi, everyone. This is TJ from Shady Sports Network. I am excited and proud to be the first one to announce that we as a network are introducing a digital magazine, official one called Shady Sports Magazine. As many of you know, the bread and butter of our network is covering arena and indoor football, and that's exactly what this magazine is going to be about. It is going to be the first ever arena and indoor football central magazine, all the leagues included. You're going to also have a bunch of articles in there about past teams, going down memory lane. It's just going to be a one-stop shop for the already diehard fan. It's going to be an easy spot to get all of your info, no matter which league or however many of the leagues you may watch. And for the new fan or the casual fan, it may help you turn into a diehard fan now, because you're going to be able to get all the info super quick and easy, sent directly into your email. We will announce in the upcoming weeks when the inaugural issue is going to be released. And believe me, we will definitely keep you updated on our shows and network as a whole on how to sign up for that list to get it. Email for free every month. Thank you to the fans, and thank you for everyone watching. As always, like, follow, share, subscribe, and most important, enjoy the show and keep watching. Thank you, and see you guys later.
How many times a week?
Like three, four times maybe.
I gotta pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers in this racket.
All right, we are back. I know that was kind of a long commercial break. Thanks for sticking with us. We appreciate everybody who's still tuning in. If you have not done so yet, make sure you hit that share button, like, comment, subscribe, of course, because all of that stuff is very crucial to our goals of continuing to grow this network. We are actually rounding the corner to 3,500 subscribers on YouTube. We are currently just over 3,250, and we could really, really use your help to hit that big goal. So make sure you jump over and hit the subscribe button on YouTube if you're watching on any other platform. But a question in the chat that I definitely think we should get to, and I think it's a perfect time to segue into this topic. So talking about that, Arena Ball back in Frisco. The Frisco Steam have been posting recently. So without getting too much into detail here, Cody, did you see the post by the Frisco Steam?
I think we had something like that in the group chat. I haven't really, dug too much into it. It's kind of if it comes to fruition, it comes to fruition, because the Stockton Crusaders are also posting on social media, and that'll never happen. So, if it comes to fruition, we'll see. But to me, I don't know. I mean, the Dallas Bulls are in that area, but to me, it's just like Dallas is kind of a dead market to me, man. If a team can get it to work, Dallas is doing a less than decent job of looking at the fans and stuff like that. I'm not trying to poo-poo on them or anything, but Dallas is just, they don't really care. You want to put it there because it's the heart of Texas and stuff like that, but to me, I don't know. We'll see how it goes, how long it lasts. So again, not trying to shoot it down automatically, but yeah, I just don't really have much of an interest when it comes to that. I don't know how long they're going to last. Frisco didn't last. The Dallas Vigilantes, the Desperados were owned by Jerry Jones, so they had to last for a little bit. It's just Dallas just cannot get a team to save their life, man.
Fair point. And the Bulls are not, like you said, doing a very good job of giving us too much hope about that market currently. TJ, what are your thoughts on the Frisco Steam and the potential of another team in Frisco?
Yeah, it's like Cody said, it's kind of just like a dead market, it feels like. You go all the way back to the Desperado days. That was probably the most successful team. But again, they also had one of the richest owners in sports backing them. But you go to the Vigilantes. Why did they leave? They, lack of fan support, attendance, things like that. Why did Frisco leave? They were hemorrhaging money because, fans weren't coming to the games as much as they'd like and everything else. So it seems that it may be a market that just isn't rich for arena football because, again, you look at the Dallas Bulls now and, what do we kind of poke fun at is the fact that they have nobody in the stands watching the games. Some markets, unfortunately just aren't right for any sport, or a certain sport. And it kind of seems like Dallas is, in the South, you don't have a lack of football as a whole. So it may not be the best market for arena football.
Your phone, it died.
That's a fairly fair assumption. I mean, if you look at Texas specifically, just on the pro scale, we're looking at, I think just off the top of my head, probably about 8 teams, in Texas that are competing for some form of the audience. And I know, obviously Texas is a big state. There's a lot of area there. So that there are a lot of fans to compete for, but at the same time, it definitely seems like maybe they're just too spread out. I mean, I'm not really sure what the problem is, but it just seems we're having a lot of Texas teams kind of struggle to gain a foothold there. But Krish, what are your thoughts on the Frisco team?
Yeah, I mean, it's AI branding, I love what mentioned it in the chat. Like, I don't really got much to say on it. I mean, I don't think it's real, to be honest. I think it's just another, fly-by-night team. You hope for the best, but you expect the worst. So that's what it is.
Fair point. I mean, I know that some people have been trying to posit this as like an extension of the Frisco Fighters. I would pump the brakes on that. I don't think there's any connection, to my knowledge, that the Frisco Fighters owners are involved in this. It would be a little weird if they were. Keep in mind the Germains that owned the Fighters were involved in the league office, if I'm not mistaken, Cody. You can kind of confirm that if I'm not.
Also, one thing I want to point out too is like Frisco, the Fighters. I mean, they had an amazing setup. We had guys from our 2021 championship team go down there, and they've said nothing but good things. About just the facilities, everything. I mean, they were winning down there, and they made the playoffs every year, and they still couldn't get fans in the stands. You know what I mean? What tells you that a low budget, AI, marketing team is going to do well down there? Nothing. So that's just my opinion on it.
Yeah, it wasn't one of Frisco's part owners, the former Cowboy. His name's blanking me. He was number 88, Pearson.
Oh yeah, Joe Pearson. Yeah.
Yeah. So like again, if you can't have him in Frisco, and Frisco was playing like in the Dallas Stars, because they were also kind of co-owned by the Dallas Stars too. Like they couldn't make that work. They're playing in their practice facility that only held 2,000 to 3,000 people, and they couldn't sell that out. So if you're making it sound like this new team is going to be able to sell out either that arena or something else, when you had a former Cowboy backing it and an NHL franchise kind of backing it along with the Germain family, I just don't see it. I really don't. Like Krish said, I want to be hopeful, but the time has proven time and time again that it won't work, man.
Do you think your thought processes change on the potential success of a Frisco team if it's not in how do I put this politely? If we're not in a league like the IFL where your costs are pretty high, do you think Frisco has a better chance of being a sustainable market?
Well, I mean, my opinion on it is like, I'm not trying to be rude or anything, but why would you want to add a team like that? Why would you want to add a team that had no one in the stand? You know what I mean? Like, if you want your league to be sustainable and taken seriously, like the NAL, right? They have the Dallas Bulls. What's the point of having that? Just so you can say you have a Dallas team to make your ego feel good? You know what I mean? Like, you add teams that are actually going to add value to your league, not just to add a team to add a team. That's my opinion on it.
I think it can work, but you have to find lightning in a bottle. You do. Like, you have to get the right marketing. You have to be lucky, dare I say, because right now, like I said, we've seen it. We've seen it with the Desperados. If you take them out as the outlier, they had the Dallas Vigilantes in the AFL come in 2010, 2011, in that time frame, and they only lasted a couple of years before they ended up, I guess, relocating. I can't remember where they went to, but they folded / relocated somewhere. And other than that, it's been kind of Frisco was there for 4 or 5 years, and they tried to put it all together until the owners couldn't sell it off. Man, they were supposed to be bought by the Allen Americans of the ECHL. That was the rumor, at least, but the Allen Americans didn't want them. They didn't want to put that on there, so they eventually just quietly folded. So I don't know. You have to be extremely lucky. There's a lot of football in Texas, especially in that Dallas area. Like I put in the comments, TCU's in Fort Worth. People forget they were just in the national championship game just a couple years ago. North Texas has had some really good, seasons lately. Now, granted, their entire team transferred to Oklahoma State, but there's that. You've got the Dallas Bulls as your team, and that's Krish, TJ, whoever is mentioned. They're not really putting butts in seats right now. So, and of course, you have the Cowboys, you have the Mavericks, you have the Stars who are in the playoffs right now playing the Wild in the NHL. You have the Dallas Wings of the WNBA who have the number 1 overall pick that they just signed, and then they've got Paige Beckers and stuff like that too. So there's a whole bunch of stuff in Dallas already. Indoor and arena football is just not going to crack it.
Fair point. It's a shame that the Frisco Fighters did not pan out 100%. And let's, something that nobody's touched on here is the Fighters were always a talented team. They also had some players.
Oh my God. I mean, I remember that 2021 team. That team would beat teams in today's league. I mean, they were so good.
Yeah.
So good. And every
There's
year,
still a lot of those guys kicking around. I mean, TJ Edwards, and that's one of the things that I really liked about what Frisco did and how they built their roster. TJ Edwards is from Texas. A lot of those guys that were on the Fighters were from Texas in one way or another. So you got some of that local flavor, but then also they built it on the backs of guys like Edwards, who they were there for multiple years. You kind of built a reputation in that market. So, I mean, I think if another team goes there, maybe they have the chance at potential success long term. But I think anybody who thinks you're going to go into any new market and maybe, have a Tulsa situation, you're fooling yourself. That's the outlier. It's not the rule. So you have to be expecting to have to put some effort in, do a ton of marketing and pick the right market, So like Cody said, and on top of that, you got to have a little luck too. So, for a Frisco team to work, they're definitely gonna have to do everything correct. And I don't know. I don't know enough about the team currently to have a ton of optimism around them currently. And that's not to say that they can't work. So we'll see as more information comes out, how the foundation looks and see if there's something there. But staying inside the NAL and staying in the state of Texas, there was obviously some big news coming out of Amarillo this week. Jermaine Blakely has been fired has mutually parted ways with Amarillo. And they have hired Jimmy Johnson, who's he's been kicking around in football for a long time, spent some time as a college club program head coach. He was a defensive coordinator for the Marion Blue Racers at one point in his career. He's been involved with the College Gridiron Showcase, as well as some other showcases around, the scouting world. Total of 18 years coaching or scouting, whether it's college, indoor football, whatever. Krish, I see you shaking your head. I know you've got some strong feelings about that. Let's hear your opinions.
Yeah, well, first off, where's Coach Gay Martinez in the chat? I remember when you came on comments trying to tell me I was wrong about Blakely, spank that ass type deal. But another thing is, in my opinion, I feel bad for Coach Blakely, all seriousness. I really do. To not give him, till the end of the season, man, he was suspended for the first 5 games, and a lot of that's on the owner too, Leif. I've seen Leif Curtis take no accountability. He disappeared, wannabe golden boy. I haven't seen him since week 1. So let's see where you're hiding at. This is not semi-pro football that you're used to. These are the pros. So I think, they hired this guy, and I looked at his resume. We got into a little bit about, a club head coach. What's the difference between that? It's still experience, which it is. Flag football and real football. Yeah, you're still coaching football. It's the same thing. But for me, I look at it as, this is, like you said, and I agree with your point you put in the chat. Long term, this could be really good for them, connection-wise. If they keep him in the front office as a player personnel guy, yeah, he has enough connections and he's been around it enough. But he was just coaching semi-pro out in Indy with the Indy Bison. He's their defensive coordinator down there. They're a pretty competitive team. I just think it's going to take him time, and I don't think it's a good hire to finish out the season. He doesn't really know, Amarillo and their culture. So it's going to be difficult, It's going to be difficult for him to adjust. And I like what Coach Q is saying, too. Yeah, firing Blakely is more like covering up Leif's ass. It's covering up the ownership's ass because they don't want to take accountability either. So Amarillo, they need to really look at themselves in the mirror and see what type of organization they want to be going forward because they got good players, skill position, like receivers. They got good receivers. You know, the quarterback they brought in, Xavier Powell, I think he can be pretty good, honestly. So it's just about putting the pieces in the right places, you know.
I want to push back on this just a little bit because of the second sentence, but you hired a coach with no arena background. That is not an accurate statement. As I just mentioned, he was the defensive coordinator for the Marion Blue Racers and granted it's been some time, but he's got more experience indoor football as well. It's not that just that one stretch. So, Cody, what are your thoughts on this hire overall for Amarillo? And were you surprised to see Blakely let go so quickly into his return from suspension?
I mean, I don't really have an opinion one way or the other because we run this gambit of, well, you need experience. Well, okay, how do some people get their foot in the door? And this is kind of the way to do it. So I'm not going to knock the guy. We'll see what he's capable of doing. On the flip side, though, if he fizzles out, he fizzles out. And then we know what the answer is, man. I mean, it's as simple as that. People have gotten fired for less. We'll go from there. Was it justified for the firing? I don't know the inner workings, man. And I know that sounds like a cop-out, but guy was suspended. So maybe he wasn't doing the right things while he was suspended coming into this. And then, at SHIT go south and then, you're out the door. So I can't say what's going on between, closed doors or anything like that. So maybe it was justified. Who knows? But to me, and I'll kind of harken back to the Dallas stuff. Amarillo just seems like another market where you're just going to put a team there every single year, regardless if it's the Warbirds or whoever it could be. Long live the Amarillo Dusters, because they were supposed to be a team, weren't they? And I don't know. It's just one of those markets to me that was just like, as long as there's a team there, shenanigans will happen. I don't know. I don't know.
That's fair. I mean, the recent history in Amarillo has been odd, to say the least. TJ, what are your thoughts on the change at head coach?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the season isn't going the way they wanted to. They were the first team to lose to Dallas. Things just turbulent, both on and off the field. Like Cody mentioned, for really just any team that comes to Amarillo in recent years. So I wasn't surprised at it, but I am surprised that they went with the coach that, while he does have arena/indoor experience, it has been a little while since he's been in it. So that'll be interesting to see how that dynamic goes. If there is going to be maybe a game or two where he kind of has to get back acclimated into it or not. But we'll see how it goes.
I was having a conversation about this move with somebody just a couple days ago after it was announced, and one of the comments they made that kind of struck me at the time and really didn't really connect the dots until afterward, but they mentioned, you're 6 weeks into the season, you fire your head coach, and then you bring in a guy outside the building. How many weeks has this been in the work? Or was this earlier this week? Or, it just seems like it happened so fast that there had to have been some conversations with, Coach Johnson, who is now hired, prior to Blakely being let go. I mean, you don't make a move to fire a head coach unless you feel you have somebody in place. And granted, Amarillo was in a unique scenario where, as we just mentioned, Blakely just came back from suspension. So they kind of already knew that they could weather the storm, for lack of a better term, without him there. So it's a bit of an interesting scenario. I like what Krish said specifically regarding his role as a potential front office executive. Given his role in mini scouting, combines and stuff like that, I think his connections at that level, whether it's the fact that he was at these scouting combines and got to see these players play and made personal connections along the years, or on the flip side, potentially elevating players and moving them up because he had connections to the CFL, to the UFL, to the NFL because of these combines. So I think I'm interested to see how he does. I think it's a little bit of an odd fit only because of, as TJ said, how long it's been since he's coached. But I think, for lack of a better term, I mean, Amarillo hasn't done much this season, so he can't really do much worse than what they've done so far. So, I mean, at that point, you rock with the new guy and you see what he can do. And worst case scenario, in 5 weeks, you're moving on and you're finding somebody else. So I don't think Amarillo's too far off. If they can get some sustainable success there and find some momentum. So we'll see. We'll see what he can do. But I wanted to transition to another topic. This past week, Omaha obviously had moved on from Brandon Negron. They brought in Adam Loftus as the interim head coach. As we all know, he was the defensive coordinator beforehand. The team looked improved. I would argue, specifically on offense, they scored a lot more points than they had prior to this game. The defense looked a little bit better. Ultimately, they looked more competitive, but there were some comments after the game made on their coach's show about the field arrangement for Colorado prior to the game, and that some of the players on both sides of the ball had to assist Colorado in getting the field laid correctly to prevent injuries. And the host even went as far as saying it was Bush League by Colorado because the players ended up missing out on some of their warm-up time, helping with the rearrangement of the field. With that, I also wanted to throw one more comment out there. Recently, it was seen that Rob Twaddell, the former owner of the Fayetteville Mustangs, was saying Colorado is using his dasher pads and walls without his permission. So couple things there, not great looks for Colorado. Wanted to go around the horn real quick and get your guys' opinions. Is this something to be concerned about for Colorado? And what are your guys' thoughts on the comments by the host of the Omaha show? Let's go to TJ first.
Yeah, having players put up pads before the game, man, you're supposed to have an arena staff for that. you know, um, I mean, don't get me wrong. I have done it. Players have done it when I was at the semi-pro level, but at the pro level, that was already pre-set up before we even got there for game day. So I can't really explain that. That's not a great look by them. The correct usage and who exactly owns the dasher boards. I mean, I don't really want to touch on that too much till I find out more information. It could just be, I don't know why he would go out publicly and say that if it wasn't true. If it is true, they definitely have to figure that out because that's not the kind of bad aura or cloud you want over your team, especially in season like this, when you are one of the more popular teams in the league. So hopefully it works out for him. But yeah, it's not a great look for right now.
Fair point. Cody, any thoughts on this?
Yeah, it's 2026 and we're still doing this. I mean, as to TJ's credit, there's an arena staff that should be putting this stuff together. You should have people in place to do this. There should be this game started in the 80s, and there should have been procedures, and there are procedures put into place when it comes to how you set up your arena, nets, no nets, everything like that. To have that happen still to this day, people are just not learning from the mistakes of the past. And it's horrible because I know the four of us here and plenty of other people put the NAL right up there with the IFL, right up there with AF1. You talk about the big three or what have you. To have this happen along with all of the other issues that go on in these other leagues, man, like at what point do we just start going, when do the mistakes stop? And it's just, it's so bad. It makes you look bad. You compound it with all the other issues that the NAL is having, whether it's kind of their streaming issues or, hey, I don't remember the last time we looked at my bookie, if that's even a thing right now. So I don't know. It's all kind of just unraveling to an extent. I'm not saying it's all downhill or anything, but to have this again, I think I've said this in one of my previous videos or maybe last week here. When you have issues like this, people take it and run with it and make the sport look bad. They will never look at the good things. Limit the amount of mistakes that you have. And that way, like TJ has said prior in the show, everyone eats. If everyone looks good and you can actually have this stuff work, then it will raise all ships. But when you have stuff like this, people will take that photo, people will take the bad things, the fights in the stands, whatever, and they'll go, look, arena football is as bad as it's ever been. And that's what drags the sport down. So you have to fix these things. It's the small details that you have to correct.
I'm glad you made that point. Over my time in media, I've seen a lot of disdain from team owners when it comes to people that quote unquote ambulance chase, right? They're the guys that they chase the negative parts of the sport and they publicize them because it gets a lot of clicks, it gets a lot of engagement.
Yes.
Well, my argument back to those people are, don't give them anything to talk about.
Yes.
Make sure your P's and Q's are your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed. Make sure your field's laid correctly. Make sure your players are paid and fed and housed and like you said they would be. If you can't provide those things, don't promise them, right? And I'm not saying that every team owner avoids criticism when they do things right, because they don't, obviously, right? But if the criticism is on the product on the field, whether you're winning or losing, and it's not, did you have the right equipment, were your players playing safely, was there a fight in the stand, stuff like that, and we're talking about what happened in the game and only what happened in the game, you're doing something right. Okay, so obviously there's a lot of team owners in the sport that do things the right way. There's very few owners in the sport, to be quite frank, that don't, right? And that's the problem. Those guys get publicized. So we need to, obviously get to the point as a whole, as a sport. We're not letting guys on projections or promises. It needs to be an tangible proof that they can do everything that they say they can do.
Yeah.
So,
because like at the end of the day, the big leagues, the big four or whatever, even MLS, I guess, whoever you want to include in there, they can get away with it. If something bad happens off the field for the NFL, well, then the next week it's Lamar Jackson scores 3 rushing touchdowns and everyone kind of forgets. Something glitches with the clock or something like that in a game. Well, Luka Doncic goes off for 60 points and then none the wiser. Here you can't have that. You cannot have those mistakes because you don't get the pass, because enough bad stuff has happened in any of these leagues that if something's just like, that's the status quo. People are so used to the bad things happening here that no one knows that Nate Davis threw 9 touchdowns last week because no one cares. Because they only care about the field being bad. No one cares that Tyler Kolka and his brother are players of the week. They only care that, well, the stream was glitchy or Beaumont only had the one camera angle, because that's what people are accustomed to in this league. And it sucks, man, because that's where we've gotten to there. So that's, again, the credit to here, all stroke our egos, trying to get that positive, trying to get all of that to be like, good things happen. We need to promote it. So, and I know I pop meat kettle because I say a lot of negative things too, but there's a lot of positive that goes along with it.
Like TJ said, we criticize because we care.
Exactly. And, to talk about the good a little bit, not to sound like a homer because I'm wearing the hat, but last night's game, it was on YouTube. That broadcast from the AL and the Columbus Lions was phenomenal. The field looked great. There was a crowd there. They had multiple camera angles. It did not glitch once. They even had some halftime entertainment. It was an absolutely great look. And again, it was on YouTube, and it was one of the better streams I've probably ever seen from a live football game on YouTube. That should be the standard, honestly.
Agreed. And shout out to our new friends over at Georgia Alabama Sports Live, who does the games for Columbus. I didn't mention it earlier, and honestly, I'm a little disappointed in myself that I didn't mention this much earlier in the show. But those guys were unbelievably clutch to us getting through the draft as cleanly, as crisply as we did. And if they had not shown up, I think right now we'd be probably getting a lot of crap about our draft stream. So shout out to Georgia Alabama Sports Live. You can find them on Facebook, YouTube, all the major social media platforms. Make sure you go give them a follow. Great content. They were the guys that, like I said, they do the Columbus Lions broadcast, but it was also, if you watched the post-game interview with Damian Daniels, the guy who was doing the interview, his name is Thrift. There's another guy, Chris, the camera guy, and I believe their play-by-play announcer his name is Mike, I believe. All three great guys, incredibly helpful to us when we were out there. So shout out to them. Please go there, give them a follow. If you do nothing else today, follow the guys that are supporting us, because they were incredibly important. So with that being said, Krish, any thoughts on this topic before we move on?
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate. I have this photo right here. It's sent to me by a player. I don't know if you can see it, but you know, it's it's disappointing. Obviously, when you think about it, it all falls back on the league. At the end of the day, right? It's the individual team, but the league has to uphold a certain standard, and the standard wasn't upheld. So I have front office grades coming out for the NAL since we're at the midway point here soon, tomorrow probably. But I don't know, man. I'm just disappointed. I'm really disappointed because Colorado has a great setup. They have a great arena. It's a great market. Paxton Lynch getting hurt definitely hurt them, because the hype was around him playing and, him getting hurt on a dirty play. Like, it's sad to see, but, their attendance, I mean, they let everyone with a jersey in for free, right? So think about how much money they actually made. If you really looked at the crowd, they had 50 people in the stands. And that's one of the things that was pointed out, on the Omaha Beef Coaches Show. Adam Loftus sat there and said, oh, that probably was the quietest arena he's ever played in. That's probably one of the sorriest defenses he's ever coached, too. So, he should be worried about his team, and he should let the organization worry about the fans. So know your place. That's my opinion. But
yeah, I mean, that's fair. That's fair. I will say,
you were a coach and you took a lot, and you're sitting there talking about the fans. That doesn't have anything to do with your coaching ability. So strap up and coach. Step in the box and coach. You got out coached. Suck it up.
You've gone from bandwagoner to attacker. Unbelievable.
That's fair. I do want to say something. So when I heard that Colorado had issues with their field, I was surprised. And I was surprised because, as you guys know here, I've been to multiple of the Spartans games. This has never been an issue that I have seen. It's never been an issue that I've heard prior to this. So it's a little surprising to hear. I'm a little confused how this comes up mid-season when you've had a home field for multiple years. So I'm wondering how this situation even arises. Did your walls get slightly moved? Was there some sort of different field arrangement? I'm not really sure how this happens, after you've already had countless home games at this arena. So it's a little confusing. And hopefully it's not an issue going forward. But with that being said, I have the utmost faith in Tony Thompson and his organization to make sure this doesn't happen again. And, maybe I'm going out on a limb here because I've been to a couple games. I've met Tony. I've had discussions with him. I know how much he cares about the product and about how people talk about him and his team. But I don't think this is going to be an issue again in the future. And I'm willing to bet that the way he is, he's probably very embarrassed that this is even a topic on the show right now. So with that being said, I think that he will correct whatever he needs to correct going forward to make sure this is not an issue. I can't even read that out loud. That probably violates.
You don't coach him. I'm not even talking about you. I'm just saying. I'm making a point. I mean, are you gonna go out? I mean, you could go out and put on a headset and call zone defense. I could too. It's not that hard. What's hard? Making adjustments. That's hard.
Krish, stop choosing violence, please.
I'm just speaking of fact, man.
I love it.
You keep stating a fact, but they're opinions.
This is true. This is true.
It's a fact.
You just said you could go call a defense.
Yeah, you can put on a headset and call it zone defense. It's hard to get into adjustments.
When are we going to talk about the Pirates giving up 70 in an L last night? I want to talk about that.
Oh, we will. Don't worry. It's coming. It's coming. We were anticipating a guest for IFL. It was going to be earlier. Things got swapped around, because the guest didn't show up.
So can I ask this really quick with Colorado's turf?
Yes.
While we're still kind of on the topic. So it would that in that photo, it's short on the one side, right? Is it flush on the other side? Did they put the turf in the dryer and it shrunk? What happened?
That's why I'm so confused. Something had to have changed because this is, again, I was at Denver Coliseum for a game with the Spartans last year. This was not a concern. I was there before warmups. I watched them warm up.
Not to kind of cut you off a little bit, but like
you're good.
Yeah, like when you look at that photo, you do have to give like a little bit of grace, I guess, with like the dasher boards. But I'm assuming that the turf goes under those dasher pads, so that way it is flush against those. Yeah, it should be flush against the yellow right there. There's no reason why it should be that short. And like I said, if it's like that, my entire thought process behind it is like, is it bunched up on the other side? So it's like I'm not trying to sit there and what happened, like to your credit, it was like the arena configuration, the rink configuration, just not what it was. Like I said earlier, there's standards and procedures that have to go in this. How did it get screwed up that badly? Because if you look, it looks like the end zone where the dasher pads are, it looks like it's flush against that. But how is that turf so off?
That's what confuses me about this. Because like I said, this was not an issue in the past. So I would be curious, and I haven't reached out to Tony yet, and I will to try and get some comment on this. So I apologize to everybody watching right now that I don't have a comment from Tony, because I'm sure he'll be happy to give one. But I'd be confused. Like I said, I'm very confused about why this has happened. And like I said, again, I have nothing but the utmost faith that this will not be a problem going forward for Colorado. So I think we've probably spent enough time on that one subject. There's a couple other things in the NAL that we need to discuss, and we kind of touched on one of those subjects a little bit earlier. And that's, of course, Aaron Dilworth leaving Pueblo. But it's one of many different transactions that Pueblo has had over the past couple days. They signed a quarterback, Dion Threewet Vesars. I hope I didn't butcher that last name. They also signed Rudy Naguni, who was recently released from Omaha. While also, like I mentioned, losing Aaron Dilworth, they also placed Patrick McSweeney on 36-day IR. So lost two of their top receivers, brought in another quarterback, and then also signed one of the top pass rushers recently released by the Omaha Beef. Krish, what are your thoughts on all of these moves as a whole for Pueblo? Do you expect to see a drop-off given they lost their top two receivers?
So one thing I just want to point out, and I'm not attacking Omaha, I'm just saying this, they need to do a better job. I know they're nice, and I agree with them. They need to do a better job of suspending players when they don't commit. You know what I mean? Like, if Rudy's going to leave the team, he should be suspended. You know what I mean? Because you don't want a player going to another team. That's just my opinion, though. It happened with DeWanda Crockett. DeWanda Crockett left Omaha, signed with Oregon. They released him. They should have suspended him, because then he would never be in Pueblo, and now he leads the league in picks. So it's just stuff like that. Like, you want to be more aware. You can't always be nice. But but for me, like, look, Aaron Dilworth, I spoke on the situation. I think it's wrong by the NAL. I think it's malpractice, in my opinion. Patrick McSweeney, big loss, great guy, great player. They did sign Keyshawn Taylor, so he's a veteran receiver from Green Bay and Iowa. So that's good experience to have to add to the room. I do think the offense will take a step back, though. I mean, Dilworth was such a huge piece. He opened up stuff for the other receivers. So losing him is a big loss. Dion Rosser, he's more of a he plays some semi-pro. He's an older guy, but he has talent. I think he's a good player. Good backup to have to Hollins. The offensive line, Kyle Lester leaving is huge. That's a huge loss for them. And now they only have like 2 or 3 healthy offensive linemen on the roster. So.
Yeah, definitely quite a bit to consider there for Pueblo. Omaha also made a ton of moves. As mentioned before, Rudy Naguni was first placed on leave, commissioner's exempt list. Then he returned from leave, and then he was released, all in the span of 2 days. Very odd situation there. William Langford released, Jonathan Adams, Kai Black, Kobe Gatson. And then moving up here, they brought in Artevia Smith, a defensive back from East Tennessee State University, Jarvis Courtney Sr., an offensive lineman, Tyler Lowenstein is back as a quarterback, obviously. And then David Francis, a defensive lineman, was signed as well. So a couple moves there for the Beef. Dallas also signed Nicholas Jones, a defensive back, as well as Marvin Taylor and Tevin Brewer, offensive lineman. And then Darian Crow, Devin Godbolt, released by the Bulls. So just kind of a quick wrap up there on the transaction information. We are going to hit a quick commercial break. We're going to wrap this bad boy up with some IFL.
Oh, what about our NAL picks? We got to do our pick for the week.
All right, we'll do our NAL picks. All right, hold on. Let me pull up the games. I know you're so intent on making sure you get at least 3 games picked wrong every week. So we got to get this out there.
Let's just do some quick rundowns, though. We don't need a 20-minute explanation.
Yes. We are already 2.5 hours into the show and still have a whole league to go still. All right, so let me pull these up real quick. Here we go. So we've got the game of the week, in my personal opinion, Southwest Kansas at Salina, 5-0 versus 3-2, if I remember correctly now. Dallas Bulls versus the Omaha Beef in Omaha. We got the Texas Herd visiting the Louisiana Rouxgaroux, and then the Pueblo Punishers at the Sioux City Bandits. So we're going to run through this real quick. And like I said, just go ahead and give all your picks, preferably a brief rundown, and then we'll boogie on to the next and final league before we get out of here for today. So, Krish, without further ado, my friend, who do you have, Southwest Kansas or Salina? And then go ahead and just run down the games for us.
Southwest Kansas and Salina. Salina, I think Southwest offense is going to take some time. You know, they have a new quarterback down there himself. I think he did a great job. Dallas Bulls and Omaha, you know, I've attacked Omaha. No, but in all seriousness, man, like, you know, they got some ball players, right? Like Tobias Taylor coming back is huge. You know, he's a great running back, but he doesn't play defense, and the defense is really suffering right now. And I think guys have, you know, quit on that defense. So give me Dallas. I think Dallas will come in and shock the world and beat Omaha by 5 points, 35-30. So give me Dallas Bulls to beat the Omaha Beef. Louisiana, I'm not. Who's going to watch that? Louisiana's going to win. I don't even know if Taz Wilson is still on the team. Pueblo and Sioux City. I think Sioux City is going to win by a touchdown. You know, it's a big game for Pueblo. Obviously, Sioux City turned in Dilworth to the league, so you know there's a lot of bad blood there. And yeah, give me Sioux City to win. So.
Okay, I thought you said Salina was the one who turned him in.
Sioux City. Sioux City was the one who
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense.
And not me, Dallas. You know, Dallas is I think Dallas is a good team, man.
Well,
Dallas, I know they lost to Pueblo, but they got some talented players on there. Like that Dejon Richards, running back, man. Like he really is. He's the truth, man. I was so excited to watch him for Hot Springs in the TAL, and he went overseas, and then he signed with San Antonio. He's probably one of the best running backs in the league in the NAL. So, I mean, the quarterback is good too. You know, he can make throws, he can make plays. They got some players in Dallas.
D. Washington says, you're crazy, Krish. I need some food when we're done with Salina. So it looks like D. Wash is predicting 6-0 after this game.
I'm just saying, man, like, it's going to take time, man. Like, you got to do quarterback back there. You know, I just feel like – but, I mean, Southwest can win. I just need Salina. If Coach Thomas can split, that's the biggest win for them. They go 8-2. They'll be good.
The hell is happening?
Hey guys, it's me, Sam. I think my stream just froze.
Krish, did you sabotage him? Cody, give your picks.
Yeah.
While Sam figures it out, I guess.
All right, so I'm picking Salina. I'm just kidding. No, Southwest Kansas. We're gonna jump on this bandwagon. I'm ready to have a second team to root for, and I'm going to go with a team that's undefeated. They've proven themselves, so I'm going to be like Krish, and while they're winning, I'll be a fan of them. Once they lose, I'm out. Just completely, I'm done. I'm just kidding. Now, Southwest Kansas has proven to me that the NAL is worth watching, along with obviously Salina and Omaha and everything along those lines. So I think that game is going to be. Man, I wish I could make it out to that game though, but that's a pretty far drive for me. And there's storms literally and figuratively within the Kansas area throughout this weekend, so that's a lot of fun. The schedule went away, so from the ones that I remember, it's the non-league game for Louisiana and whoever the hell they're playing. So give me Louisiana, but wouldn't it be funny if they lost? No,
The Herd.
yeah, the Herd, whatever they are. What's the other one? It's Sioux City and who's Sioux City? Pueblo. Okay, give me I say I should know that. Sioux City and Pueblo. Just give me Pueblo. I don't know why. Just all the stuff that's gone on with them. Maybe it's something that they're able to rally it together. Sioux City, they're just leaving a little bit to be desired, but I'm not shocked whatsoever. Sioux City isn't home. I think they've got a really good opportunity to take care of business. And then Dallas and Omaha, I'm going to pick Dallas just to try and do like a reverse jinx. Omaha's got to win one, right? They have to. And for our boy CJ, I'm going to pick Dallas and hope to God that pick is completely wrong. Because every time I've tried to pick Omaha to be like, surely they're going to get off the schneid this time. Surely they're going to get a win. They've lost. So go Dallas. Dallas to the day I die, baby. We'll see how it goes. But I have no confidence really in either team. So I'm really hoping that Omaha can pull out the victory. But at the same time, maybe it goes the other way. I'm not sure. I don't know where I have no idea where Sam went. So I guess I'll pass it off to TJ to give his picks.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the Louisiana game, yeah, they're up against a non-league opponent, so they better win. Um, Southwest Kansas, I'm going to pick them over Salina, just because, again, they've been winning until they prove me wrong. They are looking like the best team record-wise in the league, obviously, so I'm going to keep rolling with them. The Beef, obviously, I'm picking the Beef. I'm a homer, but you know what? Do not be surprised. Number one, if the Beef win tonight. And number two, if the Beef go on a little bit of a win streak, because they have the easiest stretch of their season over the next couple weeks. They face the Dallas Bulls tonight. They face Amarillo next week. And then they face the Louisiana Rouxgaroux in a few weeks. So they could actually turn the season around. So I'm picking them against the Bulls to start it here tonight. And then I'm going to pick Pueblo and Sioux City. It's going to be a close one, but I'm going to pick the Bandits just because they're the home team.
Yeah, I want to ask you a question, TJ. I know we kind of talked about it last week, but I know you're a big Omaha Beef fan. The season is pretty much over at this point. So for next year, who are you looking for head coaches? Do you have any candidates that stick out to you?
Yeah, but, well, first off, Loftus is number one. I mean, he was promoted from within, and if he can prove that he can do the job and get some wins, get the team more competitive, I think he buys a full season with the interim tag removed. And secondly, Krish, the season is not quite over yet. 5-5, even 4-6 could still get you into the playoffs. So the Beef are still in playoff mode, believe it or not.
I mean, look, I think I really do look. They can make the playoffs. Today's a big game for them, right? Because they play Dallas, and them and Dallas are like not for the 6th seed if they win. But Dallas is still 2-3. Omaha's 1-6. So it's a long road ahead. I mean, I feel like it's going to be difficult. But so you think Adam Loftus? So what does Adam Loftus need to do to be the head coach next year, in your opinion?
He needs to, well, obviously win a few games. I mean, just continue to do what happened last week. The team looked improved in certain areas, especially on the offensive side. So I think if Adam Loftus can continue to improve, make the team more competitive, I really do think Ricky gives him a shot, again, with the interim tag removed for next season, to see what he can do. Because, again, he's been in the system. He's been a player with the team in the past. So it would be, like a homecoming for, your interim, now new head coach.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, Adam Loftus is a local, so I mean, they could still keep him on staff, and I don't even know if he wants to be a head coach next year anyway. So they could keep him on staff as a defensive assistant, and then kind of move forward with that. I'm just interested to see who they go out and hire next year. I'm really interested.
That's definitely going to be one of the bigger topics going into the NAL offseason this year, I would think, regardless of how the Beef finish. I mean, if they finish strong, then maybe there's a good chance that Loftus sticks around as the head coach long term. But let's not forget that this offseason we were all talking about Loftus as a very highly touted candidate for openings, across the league because we all had a high opinion of how he coached his defense last season. So it's amazing to look at how much things have changed since this past off season. Obviously Omaha's 0-5 and Krish is highly critiquing that Omaha defense that, just a year ago he was lauding for being one of the best units in the league. So it's crazy to see how things have changed. I'm picking Omaha. I think I'm going to continue to ride with Omaha because I believe in the coaching that they have on hand. I do think that they need to make some adjustments. I think it's incredibly difficult to find any sort of momentum when left, right, and center you've got players quitting on you. And, let's call it what it is. These players at this level, they simply don't have the mental fortitude to suffer through losing. And I think part of that, as much as I hate to say it, has to do with the fact that, they're not making millions. So we're not talking about Myles Garrett on the Cleveland Browns where he's making, $100 million a season to play for them or whatever it is. We're talking about guys that are making two to $300 a week, and they're dealing with losing, and quite frankly, they just opt to quit. So with that being said, it's near impossible to get off the snide once you're there. But if there's any coaching staff that I believe can do it, it's the one that's in Omaha right now. And, obviously I'm biased. CJ's my guy. I'm going to root for him no matter where he's at. I don't care if it's Omaha or, Abu Dhabi. It doesn't matter as far as I'm concerned. So I have a lot of faith in what he's doing there and what Loftus is doing there. And I think they're going to find a win tonight. So on that note, it'll be interesting to watch this game, though, tonight for sure.
I agree.
Can I just say really quick that for the fear of having anything of Ricky in my mouth, I'm not going to comment on the coaching situation.
Man, I already have a list of candidates for next year. Best believe that's going to be in his inbox.
Krish
Every
Vyas,
single one is going to be a
number one.
former Pirate.
I really think Coach Manas could do great things in Omaha, but I'm biased. I mean, but that would be awesome.
Where did Coach Manas coach?
But even before that, I would still say him.
Okay, but what was his last stop before? Unfortunately, he had his tragic eye put out because he was with the Michigan Avengers. But where was he before that?
Yeah, I mean the Pirates.
Oh yeah, okay, cool. Okay, just wanted to check.
But I also saw him manage the locker room and manage veterans and manage that and manage all the things they look for in Omaha.
I think they should hire Rob Keefe, former Bay Area coach and Orlando Pirates legend, by the way. So there you go. Maybe Mark Stout, maybe Rod Miller. I mean, there's a lot of good coaching candidates out there.
I mean, if that's the narrative you want to run with, you can run with it. But I mean, I really think Coach Dodge will be a good head coach for them. I don't know who else they're going to hire.
Well, I'm saying there's a lot of Massachusetts and Orlando coaches that are out there because they've gone through a lot.
I mean, who knows? Ricky might go fuck around and promote Jordan Martinez at this point. I don't know.
Language.
I'm just saying,
bleep. What's to say that he doesn't just promote within?
Why? Why wouldn't you want to bring in I mean, I'm all for CJ getting an opportunity, but it's also there's an idea of why not bring in new energy? Why not bring in someone from the outside?
Well, let's be honest. This whole staff was new energy, right?
To some extent, yeah.
I mean, essentially, if you look at it, coming out of 2023 when you had Kaiser there, going into 2024 with Tatum, I would argue that was the same energy season to season because Tatum was obviously the offensive coordinator in 23. So with that being the case, I would say that, your first taste of new energy was 2025 when Negron was hired.
I mean, realistically, right now, and all bias aside, there's 4 names that I look for Omaha next year. Coach Minot, that too. That's honestly a really good point because it's Omaha. But I don't think he'll do it. I really don't. I think he's content with being, retired. Coach Davis is going hard on that.
My hot streak ended, Coach. I don't like betting anymore.
Yeah, Coach Minot. You have Jermaine Hampton and Salina. Ricky's close with Coach O, and so Coach O will recommend him Jermaine Hampton. I think that could be a decent hire. Jermaine Hampton has experience too, in that, right? He was with Iowa, so he knows that area. That could be a good hire, for them. I think Jermaine Hampton could be a really good hire now that I think about it. Coach Hemp down in New Mexico, right? He has experience with Bismarck. So there's a lot of good. You just got to do some digging, man. You just can't hire the guy across the street. Like, you got to really look for who you want. Solo. I mean, maybe Solo wants to leave Pueblo. Ain't no way they keep Solo in Tay next year. Victor, that's what that comment means. So.
All right, Ricky. I'll do it. I'll coach the Beef next year. I'll apply. My resume will be in your inbox any minute.
Yeah, let Sam do it, and then Krish can be the defensive coordinator since he knows how to do zone coverage.
Yeah, that'll be perfect. We'll be golden. But did everybody give their NAL?
All right, Coach Davis, since you're watching, other than Pat Pimmel or Coach Pimmel, who would you get? That question.
That's a fair question. On that note, though, let's go ahead and hit a quick commercial break. We'll transition over to IFL, and that'll give Coach Davis some time to get us his answer on that comment or that question, because I'm curious to see what he has to say.
The mountains you climb, maybe stairs. The records you set, maybe personal. The fans you inspire, maybe family. No lights, no camera, just action. You don't have to be a pro. You just need HoneyStinger.
How many times a week? Like three or four times, maybe.
I gotta pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers in this racket.
Ricky right now.
Boy, that's the story of my life. No respect. No respect.
Yeah. Anyway, let's transition over to the IFL. I do not have the document pulled up at the moment, given my current situation with my computer. So does anybody have the topics at hand at the moment?
Yeah, I've got it pulled up. It's Mike Fields, Wolfpack Player of the Week, signs with Iowa. If you want to touch on that, Jackson Cravens signs with San Antonio Toros and leaves San Diego. And New Mexico moving on from Xavier Jackson, DeAndre Wright takes over.
Thank you. Let's go ahead and start with the New Mexico news. I'd say that's probably arguably the biggest news of the week. And we also have somebody in the comments currently that might be able to comment a little bit on that situation, given that he, had him there in Vegas as his defensive coordinator prior to this season. So let's go to Cody first on this one. What are your thoughts on the New Mexico change of defensive coordinator?
It's a little surprising. Watching Xavier Jackson all the way back with like the Nebraska Danger and the Cedar Rapids Titans and all that, to see his growth of player to coach and everything from where he's been able to go, it's a little surprising. And New Mexico's defense has not been the worst. Yes, they've given up points and they've given up yardage, but New Mexico's been in situations to win games this year. So it's a little surprising to me, all things considered. Like, again, I'll put my hand up and admit when I'm wrong. Like, I think New Mexico, like, they're a lot better than I've given them credit for. And to have this happen, it kind of perks my ears up going, are we about to see a decline? Now, again, they're not already hired another coach or anything, so we'll see what kind of goes on. But I'm not sure. It's definitely something to kind of keep your eyes out for the rest of the season going, hey, what's going to go on with this defense between now and week 20? So I hope Xavier Jackson finds somewhere on his feet. I hope everything works out for him too, but games still need to be played. And hey, who does New Mexico play this week? Well, it's that same Vegas Nighthawks team. So it's we'll see how that kind of pans out.
If I know Mike Davis at all, Xavier Jackson was probably already on the phone with him, possibly even making a return to Vegas, but we'll see. Krish, what are your thoughts on this move?
Yeah, in this industry, right, you hate to see any coach get fired or let go, but at the end of the day, it's part of the business. You have to produce. And Coach Xavier, he's a young coach. So hopefully, he'll land on his feet. I'm a little confused on how you can be mentored by, Coach Davis, Coach Wooten, Coach Chin, all these coaches he's been around in his career. And this is the result, this early in the season. Like, that's more of a him problem that he needs to figure out, and so I hope he figures it out. I would love to see him coach for another team, maybe if the opportunity presents himself, there's a certain team that might want to take a flyer on him, but let's see, man. Let's go. I think he'll land on his feet. Tyler Knight, that's a good name. It's a good candidate, coach. But that coach does have his own team that he should worry about, He should be worried about them in 22 days. So, best believe.
TJ, what are your thoughts?
I think it was needed. They have been in games throughout, but they haven't really been able to pull out a lot of wins so far this season. So I think they wanted to be more efficient as a team and obviously stack those wins. And this is how they feel, the best move for them is right now. I do feel like they aren't that far off from being a much better team than, somebody on the show predicted. But
Spink that ass.
Dear Lord. All right. Well,
we talked about the game last night.
Of course.
Yeah, I thought we talked about the game last night. I know Cody has some thoughts about the game, so we can continue spreading a narrative about the Pirates.
Well, what's the narrative? Is it that they're 3-2?
What narrative am I spreading? I thought both teams would run the ball a lot better, and I lost my under bet, so I'm sad about that. I don't know what narrative I'm trying to send.
Wait a minute, Krish. Don't duck the smoke now, buddy. You got to come back.
Look, no, I just. Well, I'll start, and then we can go over to Cody. Right? Last night we went up to Green Bay. Obviously, we're 3-1. They were 4-1. They beat us 71-68. We'll start with the bad and move on to the good. Man, our defense has a long way to go, to be a championship level defense. I mean, we've been giving up points left and right. I was a little upset about it last night because I feel like we give up too many big plays. We got too much talent on that defense. I know how good a player Destin Mack is. I know how good of a player DJ Daniel is. I know how good of a player we have in D-line, Mike Mason, DJ Dale, all the good guys. We have 7 D linemen on our team, So out of all 7, we need all 7 to step up and make plays, when their name is called. And so last night on defense, we lacked a lot. We let up a lot of big plays. All we needed was one stop. There was a 4th down play towards the end of the game. We got to stop. He was short of the fourth down, but you can't dwell on that. You got to make more plays. And so we ended up making up plays defensively, but we have the best GM in the country. So I know him, and I know they gave him a bye week this early. Last time this team started 3-2, what happened? What happened? So, we're still in playoff position. We still have a long season to go, a lot of games to be played. On the other side, we have a championship level offense, and we get to go against two great defenses, and we get to go against Indy, and after that, we get to go against that team. And I hope that team is ready because we're about to put 50 on their head, and we're going to put 60 on Indy. And we're going to make that defense better, and we're about to go on a run to a championship. So I believe in my boys till the very end. I don't fear no one. I don't double no smoke. Call my bluff. But we ain't scared, man. Ever. So I hope.
D-Wash.
Because I'm ready. I'm already ready. Spot the ball, man.
D-Wash, you should be mad at Krish anyway. He's been counting out Southwest Kansas since the beginning of the season. 12, 13, and 14 on the Krish counter. Okay, moving on. So obviously, Cody, I'm sure you have some thoughts and a rebuttal for that, because you're out here narrative spreading. So
Yeah.
What narrative would you like to spread today?
So I've had an issue all season with Orlando's defense. I have made it known in the offseason previews and stuff like that. I was wondering how the defense would kind of go. They had some experience coming back, but that experience coming back only played a handful of games, 2, 3, 4, 5 amount of games. They didn't play like full seasons and stuff. So the scheme and everything was there. But it's kind of shown in the last couple of games against Jacksonville and now against Green Bay that it's the holes are kind of open, dare I say, but the offense is keeping them in games. If that offense gets shut down, especially that passing game, like Puka Williams, and I'm not saying he's bad by any means, do not get me wrong. Puka Williams has been a part of the offense, but with the addition of Nyquan Murray, it has reset the clock for Thomas Owens because people are zeroing in on Murray, which leaves Owens open. It leaves Redding open. And so you have a three-headed receiving monster that Paxton De Laurent, who is a more accurate passer than Kenji Bahar has been last season. The offense looks good. So to Krish's credit, that offense looks very good to the point where Puka Williams doesn't have to do everything. You don't see Kenji Bahar getting to the 1 yard line being a touchdown vulture with any of that because they're throwing 20, 30-yard bombs, man. So kudos to that offense. I think what Orlando needs to do is in the offseason, they need to hire a defensive coach, kind of like a Rob Keefe kind of guy, and fix that defense.
What do you mean in the offseason?
I think the defense needs some work.
Well, why do we need to wait till the offseason? You don't think my boy, you don't think Big Bro's already on the phone looking for reinforcement on the defense, man? They landed this morning. They landed 2 hours ago in Orlando. Best believe Jawad is already on the line making changes. I know Jawad good enough.
That's perfectly fine, but you can't negate the fact that they gave up 60 plus 2 weeks ago and they gave up 70 this week. They've been giving up points. If you want to get down to it, New Mexico probably should have beat them if it wasn't for their first game or anything like that. We're talking about Orlando, who has holes, man. They're 3-2. They're 3-2 for a reason.
Bro, Vegas was 2-3 last year. We all forget about that.
Okay, but Vegas didn't hide the ball behind that. You're trying to sit there and say that Orlando is like one of the best teams right now, and I'm agreeing with you. The offense is good, but the defense is giving up too many points.
We're one of the top offenses in the country. We scored.
Okay, and so is Quad City, and they're 2-3.
Exactly. So we may change. We're only a couple pieces away on defense. Our defense.
I can say the same thing about Quad City, but I'm going to be realistic with you and say that they're not in that echelon right now. I don't think Orlando is either. The offense is good, but if the offense gets shut down, Orlando ain't winning a game. Sure. If you stop that passing attack, Orlando ain't winning. Jacksonville proved that.
We also have a rookie quarterback, and I think he's doing the best he can.
You can't hide behind the rookie quarterback when he's playing that accurate. You can't just say rookie quarterback. There's plenty of rookie quarterbacks.
Like who?
To be fair, you guys have a stream of rookie quarterbacks every year, so you can't really use that as an excuse. That's by design.
Reality. He was thrown in the starting job week 1, and he performed since then. He scored 21 touchdowns.
You can say rookie quarterback. You can sit there and say that about Draylon Ellis. You can sit there and say, even though it's a veteran, tag, Casey Otto got his first start. You can sit there and say that for a bunch of other, what do you want to say when it says rookie quarterback? Von Rucker, he's played a couple of years. You can't hide behind the rookie tag. Paxton De Laurent is playing too good, even though he's a rookie. There's plenty of guys that get their first start. You can say that about Harrison Rubidoux, Ivan Corbin, whoever, even friggin' Liam Thompson. You could kind of sit there and say he's a rookie. He had one start last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. You have a lot of good points, man. We got to finish on defense, but I feel like we have a championship level offense, and we got the best skill position group in the league with Naquan, Teo, and Puka. So no one can convince me any other team in the country had a better skill position group.
Like I said, I'm agreeing with you to an extent, man. Orlando's a good team. They have a lot of pieces that they're missing that they still need to figure out and fix. And we thought that would happen with Rob Keefe, but that's not going to happen. If what you say is true and they've got someone on the line to come in and fix that, more power to them. And I hope they do fix it, because I think it's a better game when Orlando's playing better. You have that, villain mentality, not you personally, but, everyone has their, pound of flesh against Jawad, which I'm indifferent to the guy. I don't care what he does, but everyone has like that villain mentality towards Orlando, and that's perfectly fine. You need heels. It's like a W.
Yeah, and that's why, the IFL Cup is centered around Vegas. I told someone the other day, I was talking to, one of our former players about the IFL Cup. Everyone is going to talk about Bill Foley, Coach Davis, this, that, and the other. And we're going to walk in there and we're going to blow the living top off of that team. And then we're going to change the narrative. So
did Arizona not exist? It's not just for Vegas, man. It's a couple
Arizona. We'll do the same thing to Arizona. We get Indy, Arizona, and Vegas, all three in a row, and they'll learn the hard way. Best believe. It's not going to be fun. So you better get us now. That's all I'm going to say. You better.
Well, a few teams already have. So
I wanted to give some stats to add a little context to Krish's comment about rookie quarterbacks. Couple things. Paxton DeLaurent right now is third in yards per game with 186.4 passing yards per game. He is fourth in touchdowns with 16, behind only Daquan Neal, Liam Thompson, and Nate Davis. Right ahead of 2025 league MVP Jerome Johnson. He is leading the league in completions with 91, and he has the second highest completion rate at 72.8%, behind only IFL Championship MVP Jaden DeLora. He has the most attempts in the league with 125. He has the most total passing yards with 932, and he has the most total yards per game with 186.4. So by every measure of anything you could possibly say about a quarterback, Paxton DeLaurent is playing out of his mind. So I'm sorry, Krish, but that is one excuse that you can definitely not say about Orlando.
I might have got a little too emotional here. What I mean beat you guys by like 7 to 10 points.
At least you admitted it pretty quick.
Make sure you shake my hand, man. Win or lose, I told him, man, I'm gonna be hiding in the tunnel, so for when he throws his headset after a tough loss, I don't want to be on the scene for that. So
I wouldn't be surprised if they get a new DC.
No, man, look, hey, Big Toby's doing what he can, man. Toby's a good coach, and I support Toby, honestly. It's hard to be a play caller in this league. You just can't sit back and, zone defense, right? You got to make changes, and I think Toby's going to learn slowly about making adjustments. It takes time, man. It's all a process, Hey, championships aren't won in week 5. They're won in week 22. The real ones know that. The real ones know what's up. It takes time. It's about we, not me. So the we will come together. And if you had to ask me, about where our team is, compared to last year, I can't say we're more physically dominant, but team chemistry wise, man, I feel like I watch those guys on the field. We're up there. We're up there. So we got some good team chemistry, and we're coming together. And our offense looks way better, and we're about to go on a run. I really feel that way. But I say that every year. But just believe me this time.
You say that every week. Every week.
Quick question. If championships are won in week 22, did Orlando do that last year? Were they in week 22?
No, we weren't.
Okay.
And I own that. But you call yourself a Quad City fan, and the day after they lose, I see you in Tulsa, head to toe. So it's I can't really. I was gonna wear my Vegas shirt this morning, but I can't do that, man. Now I gotta hold my head high.
You can wear shirts of other teams. I
gotta take 24 hours to process.
If you're in a place watching a game, you kind of want to rep the home team if you have no rooting interest. I was down there for Fishers in Tulsa. I got invited to go down there, man. I'm not going to sit there and be like, Hold on, guys. I'm going to wear my Quad City gear. That makes no sense. Come on now.
Krish would wear his Orlando Pirates gear in Omaha, primarily because of the gang color association, but we won't talk about that today. No gang references on this show anymore. Coach B has not been on the show in a couple weeks, so we'll save those for him.
He was on last week.
Okay, sorry, I haven't been on with Coach B in a couple weeks. I was supposed to meet him in person twice in the past 2 weeks, and he didn't show either one.
He was doing
I'm
game-related
kind of starting
activities.
to think he's afraid of me. I'm just saying.
Oh God.
So let's do our picks real quick. We're gonna go to TJ first because he has to get out of here pretty quickly. So we've got a lot of good games this weekend in the IFL, and personally, I think there probably are only like really one or two games that I'm not super convinced are going to be competitive. But first up today, we've got Northern Arizona at San Antonio. I apologize. I really think this is going to be a very competitive game. Fishers at Iowa, that could turn into a blowout. Tulsa, Arizona, New Mexico, Vegas, Jacksonville at Quad City, and Tucson at San Diego. So without further ado, we'll go to TJ first. Also, just a quick reminder, if you check the description of the chat, if you like any of TJ's picks today and you want to put some money on the game, make sure you use his link to kick back him a little bit of a referral on DraftKings, and maybe you make a little bit of money off of his picks here today. But with that being said, go ahead and take us away, TJ.
Yeah, not to brag, but I did go 2-0 last night in my IFL parlay and UFL parlay, so I may be on a heater this weekend. You never know. First off, Gunslingers, Wranglers, and I'm feeling the Gunslingers. I'm feeling like they're going to win. It's going to be a tight game, but I think they'll pull it out with a last-second score or maybe a defensive stand, but it'll be within that one score range. Fishers Freight in Iowa. I mean, obviously, I'm picking Fishers, especially if they show up, because even if they don't show up as the complete team that we've seen once or twice this season, they should still be able to handle Iowa. Tulsa and Arizona. I mean, again, obviously, Arizona, I'm going to pick them. They're going to start to rise up. I can feel it. Then
What about these other
Sharks
two games? Sorry.
Yeah, Sharks and Steam Wheelers. Oh man. You know what? I'm gonna go with Steam Wheelers. I'm gonna go with Steam Wheelers at home. And San Diego, Tucson. I'm gonna go with San Diego. Davis is really lighting it up early on this season. So, and then the Nighthawks play, right? Are they off this
No,
week?
I apologize. Right here, New Mexico at Vegas.
Yeah, I'm gonna go obviously homer pick Vegas no matter what, but I mean they're better than New Mexico as an expansion team right now, so I'm gonna go Vegas as well.
TJ, you're not wearing any Vegas gear. You're not a Vegas fan.
I've suddenly gotten such a plethora of free things. I have to stagger them out.
Package will be there Monday.
We'll someday we'll give you guys a little bit of an insight.
Did I not legitimately just say this, bro? Like, come on, man, that's bullshit. I legitimately just told you he has no play calling experience, so he's learning, bro. If it was any other coach, one of those West Coast teams you fly out and see, you would be like, oh my God, he's the next great thing. But because it's Toby, you want to personally attack him. Come on, man, like that's bullshit. I don't.
Yeah. Let's be honest. He can't just call zone defense all game, okay? It's not that easy, all right? So
He's learning. Like, it's a learning process. Like, people take time, man. I mean, remember how many games Coach Thomas blew last year? Because he was learning the game. Now he knows the game at a high level, So it's good. It takes time.
The amount of grace some teams get, I'll tell you.
Coach Thomas, who's that in the IFL? Who are we referring to?
Anyway, I'll give my picks. I just gotta block out the noise. San Antonio, Northern Arizona, man. Hey, my boy Terry Beckner, he was supposed to have a big game last week. I think he must have been injured or something. But give me San Antonio by like 10. I think San Antonio will be Northern Arizona. Ramona Atkins only practices 1 time a week. So that's going to show.
Hold on. Before we keep going, didn't you have Northern Arizona at over under 7 wins?
I had them at 8.5. Yeah.
Okay, so I feel you need to be obligated to pick Northern Arizona in this one.
Nope.
They're already 0-4.
San Antonio, but I'm also not the one that decides the quarterback practicing 1 time a week. So maybe if he practiced more, he would have more chemistry with the receivers, But that's not. I didn't know that fact before the season. If I knew that, I probably wouldn't have put them at 7.5. But yeah, I made that pick. Indy and Iowa. Dante Santos signed with Iowa. He's most likely going to be the starter today. I'm excited for him. We saw Dixie Wooten. They released the other quarterback they had, Harry
Rubidoux.
Yeah, they released him. So Dante Santos is the starter. I think so. We saw Dixie Wooten's post about we're going to start treating teams like trash the way they treat us. So Iowa's set up for a away team must not be good, in my opinion. So I got Indy winning. Dixie Wooten's coming back to Iowa. Give me Indy by 25. Tulsa and Arizona, Tulsa's a good team, man. I mean, they're a good team offensively, right? They had a little bit of an off week. Coach back, coming back. TJ Edwards coming back to Snake Pit. I like Arizona to win this game by like 12 points. Tulsa's defense is not that good. Vegas and New Mexico. This is a big game for New Mexico. Big game for Jerome. It's almost like a get back game. But I got Vegas winning. They're too talented of a team. I got Vegas winning by 30 points. I think Vegas can beat New Mexico by 30. Jacksonville, Quad City, we saw it last week. Jacksonville can make plays, man. They got some ball players now. So, but I like Quad City. I think Daquan Neal will have a good day against them. So, give me Quad City. It's going to be a close game, though. Give me Quad City by 3, and give me San Diego by 5 over Tucson.
All right. I think most of those picks were slightly expected. Honestly, a little bit.
I will ask, do you guys think New Mexico has any chance to beat Vegas? I know.
Oh, yeah, I got them beating them by 50. New Mexico 120 to Vegas 72.
That's because Vegas plays zone defense.
Yep. Soft in the middle. Like
we're talking
Pillsbury
about Vegas' defense, not Orlando's.
Oh, Lord. All right, Cody, we'll go to you next. Who are you picking?
Well, we got the pillow fight of the week here to start us off with Northern Arizona and San Antonio. I'm actually taking Northern Arizona. The reason why is I have not seen anything to San Antonio's offense that has given me any confidence. I like what they have, but until they figure out their quarterback situation, Deion Cook has been a very nice addition to that wide receiving room. But San Antonio's given up points. They're not scoring a lot. Northern Arizona's played some close games, and honestly, they probably should have beaten San Diego in one of the first games of the season. So to their credit, and they played New Mexico decently well. So Northern Arizona's had chances. I'm taking them in an upset because I know San Antonio's favored. So give me the Wranglers. Fishers in Iowa, bloodbath, just straight bloodbath. Fishers already proven that they can destroy Iowa. They'll just do it again. I mean, it might be a little closer, but we don't know what's going on with the quarterback. We don't know if Iowa's going to run the ball like they tried to do against Green Bay. Fishers can run the ball, so we'll go from there. I got Fishers winning that one big. Tulsa and Arizona. I've got Arizona by a pretty thin margin. I think I've got it with Tulsa covering, if I'm not mistaken. I'd have to go back and look at my score here, but no, I don't. Okay, I've got an 8-point victory for Arizona. It should be back and forth. Arizona does have a little bit of issues with running quarterbacks, so TJ Edwards can do that. But Tulsa doesn't really have much of a running game outside of Edwards. I think their next low, I think Edwards only has 66 rushing yards. So they are not running the ball at all. They're throwing it. And Jermaine Smith, I think he's in the top 5 in receiving. So if they keep throwing it, we'll see how it kind of goes. But I got Arizona pulling out the victory. With the news of Xavier Jackson leaving New Mexico, I think Vegas is just belt to ass. I do. Captain Insano shows no mercy, and Ian McBurrow or Trent Tatum is going to be up the middle, clotheslining more quarterbacks. Quentin Randolph is going to have one hell of a day. We'll see how that goes. Jacksonville, Quad City. Ready for the hater pick? I think Jacksonville can expose this secondary. I do. I have Jacksonville winning this game. The reason why for that, DeQuan Neal can play well. I need to see more consistency out of the other players. Jared Ware has shown a couple of games where he looks good. Kean Williams is already that mainstay. Kevon Rudd, Jordan Vesey, they've had games, but there's just not been enough consistency on the offense. They put up a lot of points last week, but that was against a defense that was not that good, all things considered. Like, San Diego does give up some points, and they have in previous years. So I think Jacksonville being able to clamp down, use Jimmy Robinson. Red Douglas has looked really good. If they get Markel Wade and Jaden Stoshak involved, I think Jacksonville can win this game. Now, I want Quad City obviously to do that, but I don't know. I just see more scenarios where Jacksonville pulls out the victory. Quad City is good at home, but we'll see. And if I'm wrong, great. I'll emotionally hedge, but I think Jacksonville is just kind of the better team right now. Tucson and San Diego, give me San Diego. I think this spread is a little closer than it should be. And San Diego, with what they were doing against Quad City, the same thing. I think San Diego can exploit that defense. Tucson, whether it's Casey Otto, Draylon Ellis, they got to go up against Royce C. and that defensive line. We'll see how that kind of goes, but I got San Diego covering the spread in that one.
Fair enough. I am not going to give point spreads or anything like that, but I'll go ahead and give you guys the games I bet on. Like I said, didn't put a ton of thought into most of these games. I'm one of those people that bets with my gut. So as far as that goes, take that for what it will or what you will. But I have in the first game, I picked San Antonio over Northern Arizona. I'm just not really sold on what Northern Arizona has put on the field currently. I think San Antonio showed a couple flashes. I think that they've got some talent there. A lot of talent there, and I think they can run the ball at will, which I expect they will do in this game quite heavily. In the next game, I've got Fisher Sprayed. I think we're all on the same boat here. Iowa is going to get blown out tonight, and it's going to be probably a pretty ugly affair. I'll be keeping an eye on the score, but I'll be honest, that's probably one of the games I'll be paying the least attention to, just based on the fact that it's most likely going to be a pretty ugly game overall. I've got Arizona over Tulsa. I mean, you're in Arizona. That's a tough game for anyone. I don't care what team you are. Tulsa's a really talented team. They definitely could win this game, and I expect it to be a very good game at that. But home field advantage, my guts with the Arizona Rattlers on this one. Much like Cody said, belt to ass. Enough said on there. Vegas is going to win this game, and I think it's going to be handedly. Jacksonville, I've got them over Quad City currently. Jacksonville's coming off a really impressive win. I think that they have a lot of talent there on that team, and this might be one of the better Sharks teams we've seen in recent memory. So I'm excited to see what they can do tonight. I expect this to be a good game, again, because they're on the road, but currently Quad City, there's a gut feeling that Jacksonville is going to pull this one out. As far as the last game of the weekend, I have San Diego over Tucson at home, Front Wave Arena. So, I mean, I think, again, home field advantage, big deal here, but also Tucson's got a lot to show. They haven't really proven to me that they can compete with the best in the league, and I think San Diego is playing like one of the best teams in the league right now. So as far as that goes, I mean, this is going to be a great weekend of games. Regardless of what league you look at, there's a ton of games that are going to be really competitive, really, really good, entertaining games. So no matter what game you're watching, I think we're all going to have a lot of fun when it comes to the indoor football games this weekend. So, any final thoughts before we get out of here for the day? Well, I know we've been here for almost going on 3.5 hours. So I think we've pretty much covered the vast majority of the topics at hand. Anything from anyone? Krish, you got a final question that's going to lead into 20 more minutes of the show?
No, I just, I'm excited for this week of games. I feel like, I'm trying to watch as many as I can, but I just think it's good, a lot of good games on tonight. I'm excited for Tulsa, Arizona. I'll tune into Vegas for a little bit, but that's going to be don't think that's going to be a fun game to watch. Although I do think if New Mexico can slow the game down a little bit, it'll be a little closer. When I mean close, I mean like 25 points instead of 30. Yeah, it's going to be good. I guess my only thing would be, I'm not even going to engage in that. You keep doing your whole
Did they
shit.
win?
It's so funny how you guys act after one loss. It's like, bro, like keep that same energy for every single team in the league when they lose.
They have 2 losses.
Yeah, and 3 wins. So you know what I mean. We're 3-2. You're acting like we lost to some team up the street.
Three wins out of 5 is a 60%. That's a D minus.
Okay, so it's still early in the season. Like you're 2-3. I mean, I would worry about your defense first. And then
I do worry about my defense. Did I not just say that against Jacksonville? I'm picking the damn Sharks.
So lock in, staff up. I mean,
homie, I'm a realist when it comes to this.
Yeah, so I'm not running from it. I understand we have a long way to go, but I also believe. I'm not going to stop believing.
No, Krish, honestly, I've given you credit for this multiple times, but I think teams everywhere want fans like you. You ride or die with your team. You might criticize them after a loss, but at the very next week, you're going to be telling everybody in the world that they're going to beat the next team by 50. So,
look, I respect and I appreciate that. I respect everyone in the league. This league is super competitive. It's not like you can just, walk in and get an easy win. It's not like it used to be. I mean, this league used to be, 2019. You would have teams like Sioux Falls come in and beat up on everyone. It's not like that anymore. It's very competitive. Every game is close. And so I understand that. But I'm not, we get Dixie Woo next. Dixie Woo is one hell of a coach. He's going to come and prepare. But I know our guys and I know our team and I believe in our team. The week after we go against that team. And I know what that team has. They're a reigning champ for a reason. But who says we can't beat them? Who says we can't steal a couple possessions? It's all about possessions. And I feel like we'll get it fixed. I feel really good about where we're at now compared to last year at this point, really. So
it's a fair point. And I think there's a lot to build on there. So, I don't think Orlando's out of it at all. We give you a lot of shit, but that's primarily because you give a lot of other people a lot of shit. So
of course, I'm not going to stop.
No, and I wouldn't have you do it.
I hope Coach David's still watching, man. You better block me the week that we play you, man. I'm telling you, it's going to be bad. So. Get that ready, man.
That's hilarious. Cody, any final thoughts?
Not really, but I did want to propose this. We're not going to get into it right now, but between now and the end of the show, and it could be something to post on the socials as well. I was driving back from Tulsa, and I had this thought because it was a really fun game between Tulsa and Fishers, and it reminded me, and I want to propose this to you guys. Put this in your head and think about it, and we can put it on the show at some point and have a little chat. What is the best indoor or arena game you have ever watched in person? And I want your guys' thoughts on it between this week and next week. I want to talk about it on the show. What was the best arena or indoor game you've ever seen in person and why?
I love it. I honestly think that'd be a great topic. I
already have the answer, but
if you guys are open to it, I think we do it next week. And with that,
Adam talked about it too. Not to cut you off, sorry, Sam, but Adam talked about the Rampage Arena Bowl and stuff like that, and it jogged my memory because I was thinking about this on the drive back from Tulsa, and I was like, yeah, I wanted to propose that. So, best arena or indoor game you've ever watched. We can open it up to the comments and stuff like that, obviously too, so that way everyone can get nostalgic and everything. So,
yeah, on that note, if you guys are watching still with us, I know our audience is kind of waned here at the end. If you guys are interested, start putting your thoughts in, put a little thought to it. What's the best game you've ever attended, indoor or arena, in person? And if that's, get your thoughts together. We'll see you guys right here Saturday next week at 8 a.m. Eastern time. And we'll be talking indoor football as we do every week. Real quick before we get out of here, I wanted to remind everybody that we are still doing our giveaway and we are going to keep this going throughout the IFL season. So if you would like to hold on to a piece of history and own a piece of the Sioux Falls Storm's turf that they once played on, all you have to do are some very easy steps, and it became even easier most recently. when we had Sammy Strong on. You can donate any amount of money to Sammy Strong. There is a thank you screen after the fact. If you do so, send a screenshot to any one of the Shady Sports Network social media accounts, and we will automatically enter you in this drawing. If you do not want to spend money, no worries. Completely understand. Tough times, everything's expensive, so you can enter for free. All you have to do is follow us on TikTok follow Indoor and Arena Football History and or Arena and Indoor Football History on Facebook and or TikTok. Join our mailing list at shadysportsnetwork.com, again, completely free, and comment the contest keyword live during Around the Indoor Football World any Saturday. Anytime we're live, make sure you drop it in the comments. You're automatically entered. I will tell you right now, we're already roughly a quarter of the way through the season. I know I'm probably overestimating a little bit, and we have maybe 5 people entered in this drawing. So I mean, you have an incredibly high winning percentage here if you enter now. So I would strongly recommend it if you have any desire to be in that giveaway. Also, quick note, here in about 2 hours, we will have a college basketball game kicking off on our second channel. We have a ton of content coming at you this weekend, whether it's basketball, football. I believe we've got basketball, football. We've got some combat sports coming up. We've also got some wrestling mixed in there. So a lot of good stuff coming on our second channel. If you have not done so already, make sure you subscribe to Shady Sports Network live events on YouTube as well. With that note, we're out. We'll see you guys next Saturday, 8 a.m. Eastern time, right here, wherever you're watching.
Yo, what's good? Cedric the bus driver here. I don't know about you guys, but I know what I will be doing every Tuesday, Saturday, and Sunday. And Thursday nights too. I'll be over at Shady Sports Network, so catch up with me. Holla at your boy.